the shape fast, absolutely free. Text ROCKY to 42424. That's Rocky to 42424.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Do you want a beautiful home that's easy to maintain? I've been telling you about a great company that does just that. John Gilgee is here to tell you in his own words. Take it away, my friend.
Hello, it's John from Rhino Shield, reminding you that spring is here and Rhino Shield is ready to help you paint your home for the last time. Our permanent exterior house paint is not ordinary paint. It's a ceramic house coating that goes on like paint and looks like paint, but is guaranteed for 25 years. If your home's exterior isn't looking as good as you'd like, Rhino Shield is the solution you've been looking for. It's affordable because you only have to paint one last time, and it protects your home with a durable and waterproof coating that goes on any exterior surface. Find out why so many of your neighbors are choosing the permanent paint solution from Rhino Shield by calling to schedule your free estimate today at 844-RHINO-99. That's 844-744-6699.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement. The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks and Social Security on the brink of collapse. After the movie, Crash Proof Retirement will share the solutions discussed by these experts, including the proprietary Crash Proof Retirement System, which provides guarantees backed by the financial life insurance industry, such as principal protection, the potential for double-digit returns, and an 85% tax-free income over 10 years, which can be increased as needed. Reserve your seat now for this private screening of the Baby Boomer Dilemma at the William Penn Inn on June 6th at 5 p.m. Call 800-722-9728 or visit crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, this is Norman the Floorman from Norman Carpet. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with astrology. What planet is she living on? If it's quality carpet at drastic savings, you need to call me now. At Norman Carpet Warehouse, I stock the largest selection of commercial carpet in the Delaware Valley. And yes, we can install within 48 hours. Call 800-220-RUGS. Call Norman the Floorman to save 50% off our competitor's best price. Now that's not chopped liver.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Tuesday, May 16th, primary day in Philadelphia. It is indeed Kayal Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app and streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number, Twitter and Instagram, the radio station at 1210 WPHT. You can get me on Twitter at Nick Kayal, K-A-Y-A-L. Dawn Stensland with the news. Greg Stocker is the chairman of the board. Daniel Valdez, Anthony Dorenzo, our associate producers. On an action-packed day. Also, my sister's birthday today, by the way. Not my style to give shout-outs and respect and love to my sister, who's been known to dime me out on this show, to Dawn Stensland. But happy 36th birthday to my sister, and good morning to you, Dawn.
And good morning.
Gregory, how are we doing today, buddy boy?
What's up? I gotta say, I'm looking at pictures of Martha Stewart, Sports Illustrated, 81 years old.
Yeah?
She looks fabulous. Fabulous.
All right, we're going to start off with that this morning at 6:03.
Yeah.
Greg Stocker's, how old?
81.
Same as Joe Biden. All right.
I mean, I don't know what her secret is, but oofa.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. It looks good.
Well, I was going to get into a little Trump-Russia probe.
No, you can do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what I'm interested in.
Yeah, you can get into Martha Stewart.
That's not it.
You could probe that. Miller Lite tells Bud Light to hold my beer. CNN's success was short-lived. And a big take around the primary today here in the city of Philadelphia. But before we get to all of that, and as and while Greg Google images Martha Stewart
I'm not
for the next 11 minutes.
I'm not Google imaging anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
She looks good for 81.
I don't know about you, Dawn, but the show's already off the rails thanks to our fearless leader and his morning viewing habits.
Looking at Martha.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Martha's Vineyard.
She could be your sugar mama. She's quite wealthy.
Yeah. She knows a few things about stocks and...
I bet. Look. I'm just saying.
You're going to get yourself in trouble.
She knows. I'm sure she knows a thing or two.
Yeah.
That comes with age. That comes with wisdom.
That's correct. And I'm still seeking it.
Thank you, Dawn. Experience. Yes.
Age is just a number, Gregory. All right. Let's swing it on over to Dawn Stensland to already pull the show out of the gutter at 6:05, round number 1 of the news, and here we go.
And good morning. 57 degrees on this bright, sunny morning. We'll tell you how hot it's going to get. We are sponsored by United Tire on this primary election day today in Pennsylvania. Polls opening 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. The general election, by the way, will take place November 7th. And the deadline to register for the primary, as you hopefully know by now, has passed. You can still register to vote in next November's election by October 23rd. Just a heads up on that one. So 6 of the 9 Democrats running to be Philadelphia's next mayor. They're locked in quite a tight race. It's a horse race, and it could be historic as far as the slim margin, the sliver of voters who actually push through which Democrat is going to win today's primary to face David O. And because we're a 7-to-1 ratio, Democrats to Republicans, 1 Republican for every 7 Ds, it would look like today's decision would give us a pretty good clue as to who the next mayor of Philadelphia is going to be. But the latest poll, I'm looking at the latest polls, Emerson College, show about 15% of voters still undecided in the race for Philadelphia mayor. So no Democrat has a clear lead.
Nothing like sitting around waiting until November 7th if you're David O. to be just absolutely bludgeoned at the polls, right? Like, what would you rather do? Sit around and wait to lose to a Democrat in the next 6 months, or go get a colonoscopy, or wait for 6 months to be told you have a colonoscopy coming?
So even though the race is too close to call, as of right now, and who believes polls, but you can look at the poll, Helen Gim has a slight teeny-weeny lead. So if it's Helen Gim v. David O., and Helen Gim is by far, considered the most progressive, and she talks like this, I did go to the Union League, she speaks like that. So is she the best one teed up to then be, get beaten by, is it possible that David O. could bring people to the other side?
I would pray every day if that's the case. I would pray every day from now until November 7th.
I know Dawn hates predictions, but we should, at some point today, we should predict.
Yeah. Got my prediction coming up in the big take.
Oh, okay.
How about that for a tease?
Oh, okay. Okay, then.
I have been predicting since this all started.
I know you have.
Sherelle Parker.
I know. I heard you and Larry discussing it on Friday.
But since day one, I'm not to, Ellen Dom, they all have their Ellen Dom, the business realtor guy, Jeff Brown.
It's not gonna be a white guy.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that.
Yeah, we told you yesterday on the big take, it's a crime to be white.
Yes.
Well, no. I think in Philadelphia it's a little different.
Yeah.
What hurts Jeff Brown or Alan Dom is that, in fact, Jim Kenney and Larry Krasner have been a disaster. And I think everybody just wants to wipe that sort of hangover away.
Yep.
To me.
I don't think you're wrong.
So anyway, mail-in ballots will start getting counted today, 7 a.m. So far, about 60,000 ballots have already been received in Philadelphia, and 30,000 still outstanding. So those are some numbers for you. Just to mention the Delco race replacing Mike Zabel, who resigned in disgrace amid the swirl of those sexual harassment allegations. This is the 163rd district of Delaware County, Delco, if you think of Clifton Heights. And so Katie Ford, the Republican there, is, giving her best, even though she is outspent. Democrats pouring money into Heather Boyd, her opponent, who many accuse of knowing about that sexual harassment situation as a partisan person right there. So that's quite the battle. And even Joe Biden visiting his granddaughter, Maisie, Hunter's daughter, yesterday for the Big Penn graduation, which, of course, mucked up a bit of traffic. But even Joe Biden, in a rare move of a president, endorsing the Democrat in Delco in this race, which could decide the balance of power in Harrisburg. So we've got that going on for sure. In other news, we do have another suspect, a 21-year-old. We have word of another suspect who's now accused and in custody, charged with helping transport the two escapees from the Philadelphia jailbreak, which happened more than a week ago. So this is Michael Abrams, expected to face other offenses, including escape, hindering apprehension, and conspiracy. So we've had so many different people who were the lookout or helped escape. We had the woman who was the accomplice. We had the other escapee who was actually caught, dressed up as a woman, but they still can't find this 18-year-old armed and dangerous guy. $25,000 reward. Haven't found him. So I don't know. The one guy was dressed up as a woman. Is this guy better at dressing up as a woman? We don't know. But they can't find the guy. 18. So that was the 21-year-old in custody. And I was going to talk about Sports Illustrated and Meghan and Martha, which Greg Stocker's still looking at those pictures.
I am right here.
Yeah, studio. Do we have flood insurance in that studio?
No, I look. No, nothing illicit. I'm just saying she looks good for 81.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. Not a lot of 81-year-olds are going to pose for Sports Illustrated.
That's true, and that's
swimsuit edition.
We got to get to the big take, but maybe Nick Hill will do a special big take today on Martha in a swimsuit.
Nick,
I'm trying to reorganize my big take here. Late breaking audio handed to me at the 19th hour.
Ooh, good.
So I apologize if I'm
No, while you do that, I will talk about United Tire because you got to.
We start at 6 a.m.
For most of us.
He's updating. It's breaking news.
No, it's good.
Treat your car well, and it'll reward you with a long life. Schedule your visit with your locally owned United Tire today. They're going to make it quick and easy, and you'll be driving on tires you know you can count on. Visit UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Don't drive alone. Drive United. T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. We are teed up for a gorgeous forecast today. If you like 80 or 81,
80,
as in
I was
Martha's
just going to
age.
say Martha's age is 81.
Sunny and 81. Enjoy the heat today because starting tomorrow, we get a little cooler, a little crisp, 69, 70-ish for the rest of the week. So it's really a beautiful weather week for sure. That's your T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. And I'll just slip in here as Nick Kayal gets some late-breaking audio to beef up his big take. But Phil's, we lost. It's just we're losers in Philly sports. So we lost in the Phils. That's it. Big take with Nick Kayal is now, because that's Kayal Company News Live Tuesday Election Day version.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. 613, it's a Tuesday morning, and it's time for a one-party city big take.
The Big Take on Kayal Company.
All right, the big take here on this Tuesday morning, the one-party city that is Philly. Election Day in Philadelphia has arrived. Today is primary day in the city with the winner of the Democratic nomination, all but a formality to be the next mayor of Philadelphia as Jim Kenney exits his post. And make no mistake about it, Jim Kenney is happy to leave the office. No, really, he is. He said it last year, as many of us recall. You know, it's very sad that this is where we are, and this is where we have been. The Republican Party and David O. essentially sitting around waiting for November 7th to come so that he can officially be eliminated by the Democrat that will be locked in by day's end. I don't have to tell 90% of this audience this, but this is for the 10% or so out there that will vote Democrat, that listen to this show or that listen to this station in general, in hopes of this city making a comeback of sorts Just remember, folks, you get what you vote for. You get what you vote for. And if you vote for Helen Gim, you are selecting the one person who will absolutely be worse than Jim Kenney, if that's possible. And it actually is. Philadelphia, if you elect Helen Gim, you are pulling a Chicago and going even further left and even further into the gutter. Chicago was sick and tired of Lori Lightfoot, so they went even more woke and elected Brandon Johnson. Philadelphia, learn from the Windy City and don't make the same mistake. I'm not a city resident, so I cannot participate, but if I could, I would still vote for David O, despite him having the same chance of winning this election as the Sixers do of getting past the Celtics in the playoffs. But if you held a gun to my head, told me I had to change my registration, flip to a Democrat for a day, and make a vote, I'd probably vote for either Alan Dom or Jeff Brown, even though it appears they are massive long shots as well on the Democrat side of things. Give me the lesser of all of the evils, as somebody once famously said. Give me the person who will be the toughest on crime, first and foremost, followed by educational standards over indoctrination measures. When it comes to the 4 candidates for Philadelphia mayor that are possibilities, according to a new poll released on Friday, it could be an interesting day. As Dawn mentioned, an Emerson College PHL 17 survey of 600 voters conducted last week showed a tight race at the top, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. The results are actually my worst nightmare. Progressive Helen Gim is holding a slight edge at 21%. Ex-council member Sherelle Parker and former controller Rebecca Reinhart were each at 18%. And former council member Alan Dom was at 14%. All of whom are within the margin of error of plus or minus 3.9 percentage points. The poll also showed proprietor Jeff Brown, once deemed a frontrunner, now lagging behind at 10 to 12%. 1 in 6 of those polled said they were remaining undecided. And while the polling data shows us that the primary is very competitive within the Democratic Party, it's a shame that the Republicans could legitimately not even bother announcing or even campaigning. You might as well just save your money because you're just throwing it into a fire. It's almost as if the city of Philadelphia is fine, eroding before our very eyes. You hear the news every morning with Dawn at 6:05 and at 7:05, and again in the 8 o'clock and the 9 o'clock hour. And the city has not seen a Republican at the helm since 1952, when Bernard Samuel served 3 terms in a row. We're talking about 51 years, half of a century. And it feels like an eternity since Ed Rendell was in charge, that being over a quarter century ago. And you compare the dominance of Democrats in Philadelphia to other big cities, and short of Chicago, it is quite alarming. New York City most recently had a Republican mayor in Michael Bloomberg, as recent as 2013, just 10 years ago. Prior to him, Rudy Giuliani. In fact, New York had a 21-year stretch of Republican leadership, and the city was never safer. Now, it's a complete hellhole. Los Angeles had an 8-year stretch from 1993 through 2001 with a Republican mayor. And that brings us back to Chicago. They haven't had a Republican mayor since 1927 through 1931, approaching a century. They just can't get out of their own way in Chicago. So Philadelphia, it appears that you could very well be trying to be like Chicago. Not great company to be in when it comes to once beautiful, proud cities destroyed by Democrat policies. Especially if you pull a Chicago and go down that road of electing Helen Gim. You know Helen, the one who bashed Ron DeSantis in the Union League, but attended the Union League herself and then tried to play stupid, offering up a lame apology once she got exposed. This election is already going down as the most expensive in Philadelphia history, with over $30 million spent on campaigning since last September. Don't make it even more expensive and cost people their safety or ultimately their life by electing someone who will further destroy morale. demonize police, and have the city's criminals running wild like it's the Wild Wild West. They say today, according to some of the left-leaning headlines in newspapers like the New York Times and the Washington Post, today for Philadelphia is a test of progressive power. Helen Gim, backed by names such as Bernie Sanders and AOC. And speaking of AOC, let's take a listen to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is endorsing and backing Helen Gim.
Helen is the daughter of immigrants. She was raised by a mother who worked in food service. Her dad was also raised in extraordinary poverty at the age of 19, and she was raised here. She worked as an elementary school teacher. And when a previous administration was trying to close 23 public schools, she stood up. Helen stood up and said, "You know what? We are not going to accept this." And I want to describe why that is so important. Because at that time, Helen was a public school teacher. She was a mom. And so often we see these things happening on TV, or we see these decisions made, and it's easy as an everyday person to feel hopeless and to say, what can I do? As a normal person, what can I do? We all can do something.
That was AOC on Helen Gim. Now, if Philadelphia is to elect its first female mayor, I'd prefer Sherelle Parker. At least Parker has argued for a, quote, more robust police presence, for whatever that's worth. But fortunately, I come into the city for work, but I reside in Montgomery County. But I feel for the Republicans that do live in the city, and even for the logical, common sense citizens of the city that deserve public safety protection, better schools, and ultimately, at the end of the day, competent, charismatic leadership. And perhaps a mayor that actually wants to do their job and be happy with the position of mayor of Philadelphia. Hopefully, Philadelphia doesn't pull a Chicago today, but I'm not holding my breath. And that's the big take.
The Big Take.
Sorry. And that's the big take crashed and burned there at the end. Oh, no.
You broke it.
Oh, my. Well, that's the big take anyway here on this Tuesday. If you want to jump in, 855-839-1210, the phone number. We'll come back. I want to get Dawn's thoughts as well as Anthony Dorenzo's thoughts, because Dawn is a resident of Philadelphia, and Anthony Dorenzo made an interesting transition, so to speak. No, not that kind of transition, just a one-day transition, and we'll get into that when we come back. Your thoughts as well, 855-839-1210. It is Kayal Company on this Tuesday morning on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
It was the day we all feared. The stock market went down and then kept going.
2008, when the markets lost over 50% of their value. But that was over a decade ago. Today, it's not so painful. Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group calls that financial amnesia. When you forget the pain of losing half your savings, and more importantly, ignore the fact that it can happen again. A complimentary consultation from Retire Ready Financial Group can show you where you stand now before the next market pullback. You're much closer to retirement than you were in 2008. Don't let it happen again. Call Jim Cipriotti at 610-894-7415 for a complimentary consultation. That's 610-894-7415 or online at retirereadyfg.com. You can forget where you put your keys, your glasses, or even your car. Don't forget to protect your retirement.
Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal.
The sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Are you tired of dealing with those old, inefficient windows in your house? Maybe it's time to go Guida. How about that drafty, beat-up-looking entry door you've painted over more times than you can count? Well, go Guida. Need added protection from the elements with a new storm door? Go Guida. And what about that sliding patio door or garage door you've been meaning to replace? Go Guida. Whatever your home improvement needs are, I suggest you go Guida with the great people at Guida Door and Window. To help get your project started, Guida is offering 20% off all windows and doors while allowing you to start your project with no money down and up to 3 full years to pay it off interest-free. That's right. Receive 20% instant savings with the luxury of paying off your project interest-free for up to 36 months. Restrictions apply, offers for a limited time, so what are you waiting for? It's time you finally go Guida. Call today, schedule a free in-home estimate at 1-877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's go, GUIDA.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you tired of paying too much? Rescue Natural Supplements are rolling back prices to 2013 on top of Memorial savings all month long. That's right. For the entire month of May, you can buy 2 products, get 1 free, or buy 3 products and get 2 free on every single Rescue supplement. Combine decade-old rolled back prices with free bottles for huge savings. Stock up on all your favorites. 1250 Omegas, cholesterol supporters, probiotic, and brand new health gummies are all on sale. To order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online, res-q.com, res-q.com. Don't miss out on this opportunity to save big. Rescue is over 50 products to target your health goals, and everything is on sale. Rolled back prices and memorial deals start now and last through the end of the month. So go shop res-q.com today. That's res-q.com.
If you haven't stepped foot in one of the Dogs and Cats Rule stores, what are you waiting for? Hi, I'm George Parenti, the lead dog at the Dogs and Cats Rule. We all know there's so many choices for pet parents to decide where to buy and what to buy. That's why the staff at the Dogs and Cats Rule stores are perfectly positioned to guide you on decisions about nutrition, homeopathic supplements, fashionable apparel, and of course, an overwhelming selection of toys, chews, and treats. So visit Dogs and Cats Rule with 7 neighborhood locations, or find us anytime online at dogsandcatsrule.pet.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. Do you have water in your property, soggy yard, sinking hardscape, pool liner floating? Garden State Earthworks is your drainage solution. 856-848-4444 or GardenStateEarthworks.com.
Calling on Media PA to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Oh yeah, it's Kayal Company, baby. 6:27 Tuesday morning. The sun is on its way up as we get another day going here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT all week long. The music playlist here on Kayal Company is courtesy of the music taste of John Petrungolo, who was our Travis Manion Foundation huge money donation winner to steer away and yank the controls away from Greg Stocker of the music. So if you like the music this week, Stocker has really nothing to do with it.
It's true.
And if you hate the selections this week, Greg also has nothing to do with it. So spare him your hate tweets if you're like, what's up with this music?
Yeah.
Money talks, baby. Money talks.
I love it.
I do too. Very uplifting.
Yeah.
I always like a more upbeat rejoiner. You know, the slow build is nice from time to time, but quickly, I like this. You know, this is
Something
good.
different.
Yeah. Yeah. We want to wake people up at 6:27.
Thank you, John, for your very generous donation to the Travis Manion Foundation.
Yes, indeed. If you're not listening on 1210, well, you've got plenty of other options. the free Odyssey app. You can watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe, hit the like button, be notified when we go live. And obviously, in about 31 minutes, voting will go live for the Philadelphia mayoral primary today. The Democratic Party basically going to determine who the next mayor is by the day's end. And it's a pretty interesting and competitive race on one side of the ledger. Now, as I mentioned in the big take, I'm obviously excluded from voting since I do not live within the city itself, as does Greg Stocker. So Anthony Dorenzo and Dawn Stensland are residents and do have the ability to vote. Dawn, I know you mentioned it a little bit in the news this morning, but what are your thoughts this morning as far as, you look at the Democratic Party and all the different options? If you had, what's your big thought here, your takeaway, your gut feeling, just in general, as David O is just sitting back waiting to be executed? I mean,
I think he
God
would.
bless that guy.
David O. So he's the nicest guy in the world, and he sometimes roams the halls here. He's kind of that lonely, like Maytag repairman kind of guy because he's up against all these Democrats.
Yeah.
It's a David and Goliath situation, but very good guy and a longtime resident. And remember, he was a stabbing victim. Oh. When was that? Four years ago, where outside of his home. So he's somebody who has firsthand, experienced an attempted carjacking, robbery, stabbing, recovered from that. He's fine now, but a pretty scary situation. The media, I don't know, they don't talk about it for more than 30 seconds with David because he has an R after his name.
Right.
But I think he would be a great mayor, but I don't know that he really has that chance.
Yeah.
As far as our mayoral election, and I'm obviously a longtime Philadelphia resident, so I always look at the signs and who are people in the Northwest or the Northeast, and it depends on what section of the city. And that's fascinating to me too. And I see Sherelle Parker signs. I see her signs everywhere. I see Rebecca Reinert's signs on a lot of people's lawns. Mm-hmm. So you can't discount her.
Yep.
I do see more, I don't know if it's their campaign or what, but lawn signs, I see more of the female candidate, the Rebecca Reinert, the Sherelle Parker, the Helen Gim.
Mm-hmm.
And Helen Gim has sort of a 1970s block letter, like a retro, kind of a blue look.
Yeah.
So just looking at the different parts of Philadelphia, that always fascinates me. Mm-hmm. Who's going to go where?
Yep.
Like Roxborough, they for a while loved Bernie Sanders. and now you have Helen Gim endorsed by Bernie.
Right.
How does that? So I always, going through the neighborhoods, I loved thinking about which neighborhood and which candidate and who, whose signs prevail.
Mm-hmm.
But to the point of the, Emerson College poll, we don't see a prevailing top candidate.
No.
It's very unusual, which is why I think the Committee of 70 and others have had these conversations. Should we do what other cities have done, which is much like Chicago did? If you don't get 50% of the, 51 or 52% of the vote, then they have a runoff between the final two, etc. So I don't know. I do think that for whatever reason, I think Sherelle Parker on a personal level
Mm-hmm.
has resonated with candidates. But Jeff, you look at Jeff Brown, they're all, I saw him at the festival, a bunch of the candidates at the festival in Chestnut Hill recently. Alan Dom was there, very personable, and they've been around a long time. So we all feel like we know them. Alan Dom, Jeff Brown, more business friendly, certainly.
Yeah.
And you have the, small businesses that were hurting after the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as I mentioned, I just think the best chance, if David O, my question to David, which candidate would you want to run against?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I do think that he would have the best chance against Helen Gim.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a couple of things that really stood out to me. The amount of money that has been spent for this whole race has been historic, over $30 million. And, I was just clobbered over the head this weekend as I was driving up to the Lehigh Valley and driving back on Sunday. I was listening to some of the sporting events that were going on in the city on radio. And legitimately, to your point with Sherelle Parker and the signs, I must have heard a Sherelle Parker ad on the radio stations throughout this city. I had to probably hear it 4 to 6 times in about a 70-minute commute from Bethlehem back down to Bluebell. So you're totally spot on with that as well. But I was just, I'm doing some research last night, and I was like, all right, let me just find out when the last time. And I tried to go through the top 10 most populated major cities in the country. New York, Chicago, L.A., Philly, San Francisco, on down the list, right? All the big markets. And short of Chicago, Philadelphia has the longest stretch where there's not been a Republican over a half a century. I mean, at least New York and L.A. can recently say in this century, we've had a Republican run our city and run it successfully.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, not the case.
No. You talked about Ed Rendell. He had I just think he still has such a hold on the city of Philadelphia. Started out as DA and worked his way up and to governor, obviously. And so in so many of our lives, I mean, how many generations has Ed, been in leadership? And so we had that going on, and I think he was a huge presence, and that was a tradition. Somebody would go from DA, the DA's office, that prosecutorial type, situation, and then move on to leadership.
Yeah.
And for Ed, going on beyond, that was what was rare, that he could capture the entire state. So certainly
his rise is incredible, to your point. From DA to mayor to governor to then he was an Eagles analyst on Comcast for TV. I mean, he's done a lot of different things.
He was a regular in before the 2016 election. Greg, you used to book him weekly.
Yeah, he did a weekly appearance for us.
When we were on it was afternoons.
Yeah.
I mean, the first afternoons edition. The only other thing I was going to say, AOC in her speech, and you aired part of that. If you listen to it, you would believe that Helen Gim grew up here. She did not.
Another fraud.
She's an outsider. And I think she acts like an outsider.
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in Seattle and then Ohio.
Right.
So she came here for college and then moved back to Ohio.
Yeah, you can't. This is what we talked about yesterday, like what you can claim as Philadelphia and what you can't. And we got into. I'm from the Lehigh Valley. I don't even try to claim that I was born and raised in Philadelphia. Like, I rooted for the sports teams. I grew up. I went to college here. I've worked here multiple times. But, it's not like I can sit here and like some of these other frauds say, I'm from South Philadelphia. Yeah, it's not the case.
And to your point, I think that's what people can't stand is when somebody comes in and says, she grew up there. Oh, I grew up here, and just thinks you think you're going to get away.
Yeah.
I think it's okay to say, like, I wasn't born here. Right. But I think it's okay to say, this is my home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got married here. I had my babies here. This is home. I love people. Actually, I think sometimes that resonates more because it's like you're adopted. You know what I mean? This is where you adopted, they adopted you. But when you lie about it, that's, I think,
precisely.
What do we talk about all the time? Authenticity.
Yep.
It goes to that. So the fact that AOC tried to purport that lie or carry on that lie, I don't think that was a good thing.
I would agree. All right, Anthony Dorenzo's going through a big transition right now. He's not had any surgeries or taken any pills or anything.
Family listens. His Nana is listening. Mom and Dad are listening.
But he's got an agenda here. He's doing it, he believes, for a greater cause. Dorenzo, explain to the audience the little transition that you're making.
Yes, I've transitioned to the dark side. I'm a Democrat now for one day only, and I will be voting in the primary today in Philadelphia. And I don't know, I've been very torn. I've been leaning toward Alan Dom the more and more I look at policy, and I think policy is the bottom line only thing that really should matter. And I'm very concerned whether it's Rebecca or Sherelle on details with their policy. When it comes to the women, and Helen, obviously, I'm not even really considering. I guess I'm torn between Sherelle and Dom, but I think I'm going to stick to my guns and go with Dom as much as, because if Dom is in that position to be the guy and it is that close, I'm going to be kicking myself. So I don't want to just vote based off of what I think is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And so when Helen Gim does get elected on November the 8th,
I'm just gonna say
are you prepared to move out of the city limits? Because there's vacancies in Plymouth Meeting, in Montgomery County, in Bucks County. We'll take you if you want to leave.
I mean, I am from Bucks County originally, but I really do like being in the city and being involved with this, and it's been cool following the mayor's race ever since I've been back, and hopefully it's anyone but Helen. I think that's, at the end of the day, any of them will support the police and help the city get back on track more than she would.
All right, there he is, Anthony Dorenzo, one day only transition, and then he'll transition back. So actually it's two transitions if you think about it. from R to D and then from D back to R.
And see, Sam, who you had on yesterday, and we've had, he's been in and out here talking to Sam Oropesa.
Yeah.
Is that so Anthony cannot vote for Sam because we don't have an open. Now, this is different in Delco, that 163rd. Anybody in Delco, like in that Clifton Heights, they have a choice between the R, the D, or the I candidate. But for us, so Anthony can't vote for Sam because Sam is an R.
Right.
So if you have to be that registered,
right,
Democrat or Republican here.
Yes, and if you're going to get out and you can vote, Sam, I believe, is number 118. He said yesterday when he was in studio with us, and I guess he was on with Dom as well. 855-839-1210. Stalker, you got feedback or something?
No. I was just going to say he would be the best candidate, but unfortunately, this city is what the city is.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Who?
Sam
Oropesa?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the real reason I didn't switch. I did it with Krasner. I switched. I admit, and I don't usually like to do that kind of thing.
Right.
But I did because I really felt that Carlos Vega would have been the better DA, and I did that switch. This time, I actually think Sam, and I don't usually say this kind of stuff, I actually think he's somebody who can get things done. And my family we have that Delco connection, right? And I mean, they rave about him.
Yeah.
And so he was the only reason I didn't switch over.
And he's faced a lot of pushback, too. I mean,
yes.
Sam was even at the point, I saw him and Mark Fussetti tweeting about how, their signage was being removed and stolen. And I think there was even video footage or camera footage or some sort of evidence to prove that there were legitimately people from other campaigns going around and yanking his ads, essentially.
I don't know.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia.
When I go home on 95 and, the Woodhaven Road, like his signs in the Northeast are everywhere.
Good.
So I do see his signs more than I see anybody else's signs.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, 855-839-1210. Coming up next, the Durham report is finalized. It was released yesterday. The Trump-Russia probe. Surprise, surprise, very little findings. Go figure. Who knew? Well, many people did really early, about 7 years ago. We'll get into all of that when we come back. But I've been in the brand new 2023 Land Rover Defender for going on 3 weeks now, courtesy of the great people at the Piazza Auto Group. Absolutely love this vehicle. You should see the Defender 90 that I have. It comes in the eye-popping Fuji white color with the black rims. It really pops. And the Land Rover Defender has a reputation for rugged, go-anywhere utility, making them amongst the world's most capable off-road vehicles on the market today. I encourage you to test drive the Defender for yourself and see what all the hype is about. It's available as a 2-door Defender 90, which is the model that I have. Or how about the 4-door Defender 110 if you need a little bit more room, or an 8-passenger Defender 130, which is perfect for all-terrain family expeditions with up to 8 people on board in superior comfort. The Defender 90 and 110 available with 3 engine choices: 2-liter 4-cylinder, 3-liter 6-cylinder, or the 5-liter V8. Visit Land Rover of Westchester, Willow Grove, or Wilmington, or shop online at PiazzaPremiumAutos.com.
Toyota is proud to present the 96 Stotesbury Cup Regatta on the Schuylkill River, May 19th and 20th. Enjoy the Toyota experience in Stotesbury Village near the grandstand finish line, where the 2022 Camry and RAV4 hybrids will be on display. Come and visit the world's oldest and largest high school rowing competition along the Schuylkill River, and see the 2022 Toyota Tacoma, plus a special Eagles-branded Tundra iForce Max at the Athletes Village near the launching dock. See you at the regatta. Toyota, let's go places.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. Because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A.
With a lump in your throat and a pounding chest, you utter, "Will you marry me?" With over a century of combined experience, Cozy Jewelers artisans will prepare you for the moment with a custom engagement ring. One-of-a-kind, Cozy custom designed jewelry as unique as the two of you. Don't just pick out a ring, create an heirloom. Before you take a knee, remember the 5 C's of diamonds: cut, color, clarity, carat, and cozy. Visit COZZIJewelers.com.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.45. Welcome back in, Kayal Company, as we continue. It's a Tuesday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always free on the Odyssey app. You can stream us live and watch us on YouTube. YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. So yesterday, we finally get the official proof to shove it up the you-know-what of the left when it comes to Donald Trump and Russia, and this probe, as the Durham report finds that the DOJ and the FBI failed to uphold their mission of strict fidelity to the law in regards to the Trump-Russia probe, which, it only took 4 years for this to finally come to the surface and get this whole situation finally resolved. They called it Crossfire Hurricane, as special counsel John Durham found that the DOJ and the FBI failed to uphold their mission of strict fidelity to the law. This was obviously known as Crossfire Hurricane, the investigation that looked into whether the Trump campaign coordinated with Russia to influence the 2016 presidential election. Durham gave his final report to the Justice Department, which released it Monday afternoon. The report spans more than 300 pages. I just want to give you 2 quotes, and then I've got about 3 to 5 takeaways that I want to roll through here. The one quote that stands out is, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the department and the FBI failed to uphold their mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities described in this report. Durham said his investigation also revealed that, quote, senior FBI personnel displayed a serious lack of analytical rigor towards the information that they received, especially information received from politically affiliated persons and entities. The department did not adequately examine or question these materials and motivations of those providing them, even when, at about the same time, the director of the FBI and others learned of significant and potentially contrary intelligence. This is gross negligence by the FBI. This is, once again, why Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters say things like weaponization of the federal government, or a 2-tier justice system, or disband the FBI and strip it down to its bare bottom. Keep in mind the following. Donald Trump has a defamation suit, not from E. Jean Carroll, but Trump has a defamation suit against CNN for Russia collusion coverage, where he wants $475 million in punitive damages. I would say yesterday only adds to the credibility of his defamation suit. Whether he wins it or not, I don't know. But this could only help the cause. The bottom line is Trump and Russia was a lie. Yet Democrats like Biden, Obama, Hillary Clinton, they all seem to skirt responsibility and, oh, by the way, get favorable coverage in the media. And if you think about this and what Trump has talked about, 2016, Russia collusion. 2020, Hunter's laptop is Russian disinformation. Everything that Trump has claimed has really come true on many of these bogus investigations. And everything that they claimed, the left, the media, that Trump was, Joe Biden actually is. And if you think about this from the FBI standpoint, the feds are usually pretty good when they go after you, right? Like the FBI has a great batting average. They usually don't come for you in any capacity unless they know they've got you dead to rights. Yet after 7 years, they've got nada against the outsider from the swamp. And if you think about the weaponization for a moment, guys, you have the FBI against Trump, the DOJ against conservatives, Mark Houck, Matt Taibbi against the IRS. So when we hear weaponization of the federal government, just think about what we just talked about. The IRS showing up at the doorstep of Matt Taibbi's house the day he's supposed to testify. The Mark Houck situation. And then all the stuff with Trump, from Alvin Bragg to E. Jean Carroll. The Bragg case is incredibly weak. The E. Jean Carroll case, yes, he was found liable for defamation, but not for rape. And now the Durham report. So like when Trump gets on his horse and he goes on Truth Social and he's in all caps and he's talking about witch hunts and being the most investigated president of all time, once again, these are reasons why he does that. Because as the Durham report shows us yesterday, as the quotes we gave you, it's total nonsense. I mean, this is a guy who rattled the cages of the establishment and then had to face the wrath of all the different federal agencies that tried to take the guy out of commission, for lack of a better phrase. So I'm not sure what you guys thought about this yesterday, but I really wanted to tweet about this when it came out. And I'm like, all right, I got Greg Stalker on my left shoulder. Save it for the show. Save it for the show.
Twitter doesn't pay you.
I did not tweet about it at all yesterday.
I'm glad.
So anybody has thoughts on that, you can jump in 855-839-1210. And this is the stuff that we've talked about, Dawn, and we've seen it locally here. You know, you saw it and you covered it as well as anybody with Mark Houck with the feds.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a conservative, if you're a Republican, you are going to face a different level of investigation from the authorities than if you're on the other side.
I think when I heard about this yesterday and overall, even Mark Houck telling the story, I think of, in general, all the law enforcement I've worked with on the other side as a news reporter, local news reporter, right?
Yep.
And paying my dues over the years and those ride-alongs, which I actually loved, with undercover officers, whether they were at the federal level or a local municipality or state municipality.
I would have loved to have been part
I
of that as
know,
well.
it
sounds like a lot of fun.
When I was one of my first big, it was like an undercover drug sting, and I was on set, and this was Wink TV in Fort Myers, Florida, and I was like right out of college, and I said, "Oh, it was so fun," but you can't say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's a serious situation. My news director pulled me and said, "Dawn, I know, you're new at this," and that, but it was a blast. It really
show no emotion.
Well, you can't say,
Just the facts.
They're dangerous individuals. I mean, not that I ever felt in danger because they were all these, great, wonderfully trained law enforcement officers. And so in my core, I have such a respect for law enforcement as far as at the federal level or the state level or the local level. That's my perception. And so when I hear this stuff, I think, these are basically, it's every profession has a few bad apples. These are those higher level politicized people at the top. And that's why we have whistleblowers. Mm-hmm. I mean, every single time, if you notice, there are a couple of whistleblowers who come forth and say, no, this is what's happening. And there's a reason for that, because I think the whistleblower feels exactly what I just said, that, hey, you cannot let this situation represent an entire profession of people who've dedicated their lives to investigation and fairness.
Mm-hmm.
And we need that. It's so critical.
Yep.
And so to have this hanging over us and, these, now that the IRS, there's according to the one whistleblower, the IRS now those guys who were investigating Hunter, they're getting it's a retaliatory situation.
Mm-hmm.
You never want to hear that it's politicized.
And you always talk about the way the media covers things and the slant and the coverage. I love the headline from the Associated Press. Prosecutor ends probe of FBI's Trump-Russia investigation with harsh criticism, but no new charges. Well, we really can't charge you with anything, but we will criticize you harshly, Mr. Trump. We really couldn't find any of the smoking guns, but you know what? Shame on you if you did get one over on us. You had 7 years. You had 4 years with starting in 2019 with Crossfire Hurricane. You would think that all of these authorities, right, with all the resources at their disposal, and that if there was something going on here, you would have gotten to the bottom of it, and you got nothing.
Well, and to your point, think about any other headline. If when have you ever heard that?
Mm-hmm.
To say
harsh criticism?
Oh, what did that sound like? Is that like
Right.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Shame.
Is that a sentence? I mean, is that like a way in which you can punish people in a court of law or something? Harsh. That's like a local judge saying, we charged you here. You're charged with second-degree burglary. We really couldn't prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, but you will face harsh criticism, Mr. Jones, for what you did. Or what we couldn't prove that you did. So embarrassing.
It's just so funny, but they're trying to make the headline as harsh as they possibly can.
Even when he's exonerated or found not guilty, or there's just no new charges to be found, and they just it's a lot like with Alvin Bragg when you hear about new charges. That we've already gone through all the stuff with Stormy Daniels and the hush money and the whole thing. So you can come up with, like we talked about, feels like 2 months ago now, when they were trying to bootstrap that misdemeanor, make it a felony, and this Fugazi legal theory. Shout out to Zioli for Fugazi. And you're sitting back and you're like, wait a minute, this is a guy who campaigned to become the district attorney of the county in New York City, which he presides over now and runs. And all this is really him trying to come through on a campaign promise. Oh, coincidentally enough, while Trump has announced his attempt for re-election for a third run at the White House. So we say, like, you have to be completely clueless not to sit here and say, okay, Bragg, Carroll, Durham, impeachment 1, impeachment 2, right? And you sit there and you're like, they've thrown the wall at Trump. And so far, the only things that have stuck are $5 million in defamation and then the abuse charge that came out of the Carroll case. And we talked about it last week, how they bury what should be the true lead, not found liable for rape. That was tossed.
Which I say to my boys, I say to the men in my life, now look at that whole situation.
Yeah.
Think about all these millions of dollars in investigations, and on both sides, with Trump and with President Biden, because of his son Hunter Biden.
Yep.
What's at the core of possibly bringing both of them down?
Mm-hmm.
A woman.
Exactly. Exactly.
Never underestimate the power of an angry woman or a scorned, whatever woman scorned. The only other thing I was going to say, because you talked about whistleblowers, Nick Kayal, and that is, I'll bring you back to Alexander Vindman, who was that whistleblower on Trump's The Ukraine Call.
Yep.
And back then the media, because you talked about media headlines. Remember how the media, I mean, you would have thought that Alexander Vindman was the freaking Virgin Mother Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Of course.
But now all of a sudden, whistleblowers are dirty.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know?
Yep. I don't know about their credibility. Yep. 855-839-1210. Hour 2 is on the way. Dawn will have some news. And Miller Lite tells Bud Light, hold our beer. I can't believe what we're about to get into, but we will get into it because they just don't learn, do they? They never learn. We're back after this here on Kayal Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Is your kitchen feeling outdated? Dreamt of something better? Kitchen Magic can help. With locally manufactured products and industry-leading designers, Kitchen Magic will create a space to suit your style, budget, and timeline. Your kitchen will be backed by exceptional customer service before, during, and long after your remodel. Discover more at kitchenmagic.com and schedule your free in-home consultation with one of our design experts. Now offering no money down, 0 interest for 12 months, plus 10% off the kitchen of your dreams.
The Dude at Dental Group, official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, is a proud supporter of the Talk Radio 1210 Radiothon for the Travis Manion Foundation. Dr. Dilip Dudat grew up in North Wales, graduated from North Penn High School and Temple Dental School. Today, Dr. D and his team supports our local area by providing advanced dental care using the latest technology at 30 area practices and contributes to the local economy with 250 team members. The Dudat Dental Group, proud supporter of the Travis Manion Foundation. Visit PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
It's Election Day in Pennsylvania, so Philly mayoral candidates went around the city yesterday making their final pitches to voters. A Philadelphia election task force is in place to ensure a free, fair, and safe election day, and a mass shooting in New Mexico leaves 3 dead and 6 injured, including 2 police officers.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
Explore the historic cell blocks of the world's first penitentiary. Eastern State Penitentiary is open for tours every day, year-round. Learn about the prison's history and worldwide influence, and consider its connections to criminal justice today. Admission includes an audio tour narrated by actor Steve Buscemi, award-winning exhibits, and a critically acclaimed series of artist installations. Explore an old prison for new ideas. Plan your visit and purchase tickets online at www.easternstate.org. Miller Lite has high hopes for the Phillies this season, so catch every game at the Wicked Wolf in Center City, featuring $4 Miller Lite drafts in 12-ounce cans. Wicked Wolf is Philly's newest sports-centric destination with a unique nightlife flair. Pub by day, sports party bar at night with 32 HD TVs and a 16-square-foot LED digital screen. So enjoy every Phil's game at the Wicked Wolf in Center City. Wicked Wolf, a proud partner of WIP's High Hopes Pod with James Seltzer and Jack Fritz. It's Miller time, Phillies fans. Celebrate responsibly.
This is Flea for This Little Light, a podcast about falling in love with music. I started a nonprofit music school about 20 years ago called the Silver Lake Conservatory of Music. The reason that I started doing this podcast was music education. I'll be speaking with Rick Rubin, Thundercat, Stuart Copeland, Margot Price, Corey Henry, Cynthia Erivo, Sheila E., and Patty Smith.
Please listen and follow This Little Light, a presentation of Cadence 13 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don Stensland this morning at 10. Kayal Company now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Kayal Company, as we welcome you back in 7:01. Hour 2 underway here on a Tuesday. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app. You can stream us and watch us on YouTube all 4 hours each and every morning. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe and like us. What's on the cut sheet, you're going to find out. That's coming up 7:45 this morning. Joe Biden at the University of Penn yesterday. And apparently he had to do some cancellations to attend. We'll get to what he canceled and what he had signed up to do so that he could attend his granddaughter's graduation. We'll get to that story coming up in just a little bit. And also the Biden administration looking to cancel something else in the world of schools. If you're a kid, there's one item that you used to probably love on a daily basis at school, and this administration wants to get rid of it. We'll get to that coming up as well. Before we get to Dawn's news, Mr. Stalker, do we want to make any pushes to reach a new milestone?
Yeah, we're about 36 new subscribers away from being at a 3.1.
Okay.
That's 3,100.
Correct.
3,100. If you're listening right now on the radio or on the Odyssey app, if many of you are, go over to YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the subscribe button, please. And if you're watching right now, please hit the like button. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube, hit the like button. But let's try and get to 3.1 by 7:30.
Yeah.
So 7:30. If you're listening or you're doing something else, when you get to your destination.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the subscribe button, please.
Please do it.
Please.
I had a little birdie get into my ear yesterday saying, boy, you guys are doing a number on the YouTube channel with subscribers, beating some shows and or stations in the city that some would say was pretty hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't reveal all the specifics, but you know,
we're doing great things.
Yeah.
Dawn doesn't believe in patting yourself on the back because she thinks it's bad karma.
I'm like, I do.
Right, Dawn?
Yep. Bad luck.
I do.
Bad luck.
You remember back in the 80s, the really awful jobber wrestler named Barry Horowitz? Of course. He used to get in the ring and give himself a pat on the back before he would get pinned in 2 minutes. I'm going to do a Barry Horowitz now on cam.
Dawn was busy living her life.
Yes.
She didn't
remember Barry.
Yeah, she
Isn't Barry a serial killer show?
Yes,
Barry's a creepy name, by the way.
Excuse me, it's my father's name.
And Barry Manilow.
Well, does Barry Manilow know you raided his wardrobe? All right, 7:04. Father-in-law Barry, huh?
No, my father.
Oh, okay. So Barry Stocker.
Yes.
Okay, Barry and Gregory. Nice work.
Yeah,
I like it.
And Barack Obama was Barry.
My best friend's name is Barry.
See,
he looks like a Barry, by the way.
So, do you want to retract that Barry statement?
No, he's a creep as well. He's my best friend, but he's still a creep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to stay consistent with that. Let's get to Dawn Stenslin with the news here in hour 2 at 7:05 this morning.
And good morning. We're in for a big warm-up. Started out in the 50s this morning, but a beautiful day ahead. I'll tell you how hot it's going to get. We are sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union this morning. A lot of breaking news this morning as we know that a fourth suspect in connection to that now famous Philadelphia escape from a Philadelphia correctional center more than a week ago. Fourth person arrested in connection with that. However, we still don't have one of the actual original escapees is still out there on the loose. This 18-year-old accused of murdering 4 people when he was 16 years young. So a total of six people shot by this suspect, allegedly, and 4 of them killed. And so this armed and dangerous suspect remains on the loose in the city of Philadelphia as U.S. Marshals and law enforcement from across the city, across the state, search for this escapee. Still, the latest arrest warrant issued for Michael Abrams, who's 21 years old, who's from Philadelphia, arrested by those U.S. Marshals at the Fairfield Inn, and this is Berwyn, Pennsylvania, on Monday afternoon, charged with criminal conspiracy and facilitating an escape. So this is the latest accomplice accused. We have in the city of Philadelphia a teenage boy, 15 years young, was shot multiple times on the 100 block of Wyoming Avenue, not far from the Roosevelt Boulevard, and that happened last night. Shots fired. He initially was listed in critical condition and now has been upgraded to, at least they've stabilized his condition. He's in actually, it's not CHOP, it's St. Christopher's Hospital for Children. We don't have any arrests, but this shooting happened just hours after city leaders announced some new efforts to combat crime in Philadelphia, especially over the summer months when kids are out of school. So Mayor Jim Kenney joining the police commissioner, Danielle Outlaw, along with other representatives of the city's police force as well, detailing these new efforts to try to hold down the crime, because generally speaking, when the kids are out of school and the heat is on, sometimes we see even more crime and senseless crime. So we'll talk about that moving forward. But pretty tragic that, they have this big news conference. They talk about how they're going to hold down these crime levels. Police commissioner talking about all kinds of stats, and homicides are this many, 15% down, so on and so forth. And then boom, you have a shooting right afterwards.
Yeah, and people do a lot of crazy things when the weather gets hot, especially when you don't have air conditioning and you get cranky, and you see that stuff escalate, no doubt.
Yeah, and to your point, Nick, that's why it's interesting with the mayoral candidates. There are some who believe we should have all year-round school, or at least have it available.
Yeah, structured schedules and regimented. The whole bit, like keeping kids preoccupied and on a routine is so beneficial for them. You give them too much free time and, bad things can occur.
Yeah, agreed. We have talked about the fact that the polls have just opened on this primary day in Pennsylvania. Polls opened 8 minutes ago, And then you have from 7 a.m. until 8 o'clock, all the way till 8 o'clock this evening. This is the primary election day. Obviously, the general election takes place November 7th this fall. So you can still register to vote for the November election by October 23rd. A special election being held today, right now in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, in the Philadelphia suburbs, is likely to determine control of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. And that's why you've seen Governor Josh Shapiro, who's a Democrat from our area, from Montgomery County, Abington. Josh Shapiro doing a lot of commercials, as well as, in a very rare move, we saw the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden, here yesterday for his granddaughter, Maisie Hunter's daughter's graduation from the University of Pennsylvania yesterday morning. And Joe Biden speaking out, endorsing the Democrat who's running against Republican Katie Ford, as well as Libertarian Alfie Goodwin. So it's a three-way race in House District 163, and it became vacant only 61 days ago, I'm going to add, and that was because of Mike Zabel, a Democrat who resigned in disgrace in mid-March after multiple women accused him of sexual harassment and very creepy groping behavior that many in Harrisburg are saying this was like not a best kept secret.
Speaking of Joe and giving endorsements, locally, we know Bernie and AOC have endorsed Helen Gim. Has Joe thrown his weight behind a mayoral candidate race? Okay, I didn't think so.
No, because I think that's why he's not really talking about it, because all they care about is that a Democrat wins.
Of course.
So I think they're confident that one of the Democrats will win. That's all they care about, which is why they're jumping in, in the Delco race, because that's a balance of power situation.
Yeah. By the way, for anybody who didn't hear it, Dawn interviewed Katie yesterday, right, at like 10:15?
Yeah, and it was great. She's not a political partisan person, and that's part of her point, that this was a pretty dirty situation with a guy who basically, kind of came out and admitted as much, and he says he needs some treatment, but was doing some pretty creepazoid behavior and was allegedly, enabled by fellow Democrats, including the woman who's running against Katie.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you missed it and you're in that area, just hit you can go on to the rewind feature, go back to Dawn's show yesterday around 10:15 and listen to the interview before you cast your vote.
There you go.
Yeah. U.S. Army veteran. She's a mom, wife, and educator. And by the way, one of her children does have autism. Mm-hmm. And so she really believes in speaking out for, kids who need that special education after dealing with the pandemic and so on. So
good for her.
Yeah, very, so in any event, we'll follow that very carefully. She's outspent. Democrats poured over $1 million into that election. So not so much from the GOP leadership here. All right, we'll get to Martha Stewart and Greg Stocker's crush on Martha in a swimsuit. I don't think you'll ever live that down.
It's not a crush. I'm just saying she looks good. That's all I'm saying. For 81 years old, to grace the cover of the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated, I didn't even know that was still a thing.
I'm gonna take the bait here, Stalker. As Dawn finishes up here, I'm gonna take a look.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, you gotta look.
No.
You gotta look, dude.
All right, I will.
All right. Who's hotter, Martha or Megan?
Wow, come on. It's not, that's not a fair contest.
I know. Megan Fox is gorgeous. American Heritage Credit Union is the place for the first-time home buyers with in-house realtors. $500 lender credit for new homeowners. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH for all the details. Loans subject to credit approval and insured by NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 433838. T-Mobile Weather Center, as our Phils were beat again. Just don't even pay attention. It's early on, but Phil's lost. We are looking at not a loser forecast. 81 beautiful degrees today. It's going to be hot. It's going to feel like summer. And then starting tomorrow for midweek, we are 69, 70-ish for the rest of the week. So, which is more seasonable weather. So today the heat is on 81 degrees, but then we go back down to what would normally, be a regular temp for this time of year. That's your T-Mobile Weather Center forecast. I'm Dawn Stensland, and this is 7 a.m. edition, Kayal Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. I have done the Google imaging of Martha Stewart, swimsuit, Sports Illustrated, and 81 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope to look that good at 81. Hell, actually, I take that back. I hope to be alive at 81,
you're
first
not
of
gonna
all,
be. You're not
which I
gonna be.
won't be.
Yeah, I've seen
But
your
if I
genes.
am, I would like to, be on the same level as Martha Stewart.
I'm telling you, she looks good, man. That is impressive.
Dawn, is this airbrushed? Is this photoshopped? Or is this all legitimate at 81?
I think at SI they do a little bit of airbrushing, but the truth is Martha is very wealthy, and so nowadays, I mean, she's had some renovations.
She's had work done, as we like to say.
And all of them have.
Of course.
And so there's a lot available that's out there, and if you can afford it, for the rest of us, we're just trying to get like Emmons Roofing, right? And get your actual roof. And actually, Emmons probably charges less for an entire roof than Martha's work to get. Seriously.
Yeah.
But that's, what she can afford.
So the lesson to be learned is if you have the funds, you can live longer and look better.
Of course.
It's like Tom Brady in the NFL at 45. How's he doing it?
Yeah.
Takes care of himself, and he's got all the money in the world to do so.
And we now know, I didn't know about all this stuff until QC Kinetics came along. And then, I went to the lab and learned about
There you go.
QC Kinetics.
Look at this.
There's sponsors it in.
There's no question in my mind.
Man.
No, I'm really serious, though.
Yeah.
The celebrities and rich people, they've known, so they have all this stuff. And then, it starts out with the military, right? That's the lasers, the cosmetic lasers.
Yeah.
That all started with the U.S. military. So that's the only reason I'm for U.S. military spending, because ultimately it'll make us all beautiful eventually, is that we have trickle-down technology. I'm teasing here, but seriously, the rich know about all this stuff. They've been doing it for years. Hollywood's been doing it for years. And then it sort of trickles down and gets more affordable for the rest of us.
Everybody now on the YouTube chat, the Kayal Company community chat center or whatever it is
Comments.
now. They've now taken a look at the
Martha.
Lou says in a heartbeat.
It's good work out of Lou.
And 91L LXers or something says compare 60-something Madonna to 81-year-old Martha. Martha's way better. That's true.
Well, because
Madonna
Madonna had
terrible.
Madonna had all those filler things.
I know. Her face looks just like completely fake.
It was all poofed up or something.
Ipso facto says, and regarding SI, she might look really good at 81, but I still feel sorry for the current 12 and 15-year-old boys today. Yeah, it's not exactly. If you're that age, you're not taking it into the bathroom, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, you're not going into the fourth floor stall with that one.
No.
That's.
I remember there was this Christy Brinkley, because she's like 60, in her 60s with her daughter. And my youngest son goes, "Mom, look at her neck."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Really? You're looking at her neck?"
Yeah. Here's the ultimate question, though. Just to compare Martha at 81, I think one of the most beautiful women on the planet at her age, Suzanne Summers. Google, I don't even know how old Suzanne Summers is. She's got to be 70 by now.
Never say for her age.
Well, yes. Sorry, I pulled a Don Lemon.
Let's see.
Dawn, you better keep your mouth closed.
I mean, Suzanne Summers has got to be 71, 72.
Yeah.
She was in her 40s when she was on Step by Step. That was 30 years ago.
Suzanne Summers was born in 1946.
Okay, so 54 and 23. She's 77.
Wait. Hang on. You know Suzanne Summers from Step by Step.
Well, that's what I recall her as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. It was over 32 years ago.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't help me.
I don't even know Step by Step.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
What? Step by Step?
She was also in the show in the 70s.
Three's Company.
Three's Company. My dad used to watch
Three's
that all the
Company
time.
was
Oh,
like,
my God.
Yes.
You never watched that on like Nick at Night even?
No, I watched Three's Company.
Okay.
Yeah. But for me, for my wheelhouse.
You know Suzanne Summers from Step by Step.
Yeah, you got to remember, when she was in Three's Company, I was 11 years removed from not even being on this planet yet.
Life existed before you were born.
I'm well aware.
So did TV. It was actually better.
Who was that guy for the Yankees that gave that speech? You're the sports guy.
Oh, God. Just because your job sucks doesn't mean the radio station you listen to has to. Where did we cut that?
Yeah, we
Wow.
did. We did.
That became a drop?
That's a stalker gem.
Oh, my God.
I've got a whole section dedicated to you, pal.
Oh, God.
Yep. So, all right, 855-839-1210. I got to come back and I got to take a little bit of a jab here at Miller Lite, but I also have to rip the conservatives or Republicans that are up in arms about this. This happened well before Bud Light. So I don't know why all of a sudden this is news over 2.5 months later. If you don't know what we're talking about, stick around. The details are coming up next here on Kayal Company.
He's a former coach with 2 sons who played professional basketball. Satch Sullinger's a competitive individual, but his golf game was suffering because of painful joints.
Right, that's real important. The golf game. Right. As we get older, we create these bad habits because we're relegated to hit a certain way.
QC Kinetics used regenerative treatments, all natural healing properties from Satch's own body, to restore those damaged joints and get his golf game back on track.
QC Kinetics regenerative medicine is regenerating me, all natural. And that's what I'm about. I'm going to tell everybody why I'm better.
Oh, and by the way, looks like the competitive Satch is back.
We're all in the same boat, and I'm getting better, and I'm watching them stay old.
Go to QCkinetics.com. Get relief and your game back. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy, and today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 215-302-9999.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. My father and grandfather taught me 3 things. Be honest, provide great service, and give back to the community. And you will continue to be in business for 3 more generations. You have a choice as to who services your heating and air conditioning. At Marvin E. Cans, you'll get great service and honest pricing, but also a company that gives back, like installing a free train furnace for a disabled Afghan war veteran. If this sounds like your type of HVAC company, then visit us at marvinecans.com.
From Broomall to Brookhaven, follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app.
Download it now.
Kayal Company, as we continue working our way towards what's on the cut sheet all week long, coming back from the break, the playlist courtesy of John Petrungolo, who was our Travis Manion Foundation winner as far as the largest winning donation to take control of the playlist and all of the music all week long out of the hands of Greg Stocker. And this man coughed up some good money for a great cause, and he's playing all the hits for us today. And tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, all week.
All week long, baby.
Week. That just shows you how much money he donated.
I was
to get a week of music.
Yeah. Now, he didn't, because I was listening to Rich yesterday after I dropped my wife and daughters off back at the airport, and I'm coming back and I'm sitting in traffic on the Schuylkill. Rich was also doing this as well. So was there a separate donor for Rich's show, or did Petrungolo just buy up the whole station?
Yeah, no. I think we did it here in the morning.
Okay.
Somebody donated for the morning show, and then somebody else also donated for the afternoon show.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Three's Company, it's been 20 years since John Ritter passed away.
Wow.
He died. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I remember that story vividly when I was in college and seeing the headlines that he was dead at like 55 or 57 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in the middle of he was in a sitcom at that time, too.
He was also great in Problem Child.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. That little kid junior. They like put that kid's head through a window.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so here's the thing I don't get with Miller Lite.
Father of the Year. Over here.
Father of the Year. Yes. So we have talked about the Bud Light story and Dylan Mulvaney for what feels like close to a month. And I even said this last week. I said, we will not be talking about Bud Light again in that context unless something really bizarre happens or there's more fallout. Well, I never thought that the fallout would come from Miller Lite, but I also don't understand some of the outrage and some of the backlash. So yesterday, everything just totally hit the fan, right? Social media was abuzz over Miller Lite and their feminist ad, which actually launched in March, but it went viral yesterday amid the Bud Light backlash. And many people on the right are slamming Miller Lite for their pro-women ad, which was a thing. And I, truth be told, honestly, I don't recall this ad in the month of March. Not in any type of broadcast that I watched, whether it was in news television or March Madness or sports or whatever it was. Until I watched the ad yesterday and listened to the audio of it, I have zero recollection of this ad ever running on TV in March. Because if it really was so outrageous, I think we would have been talking about it. And we're only talking about it now because of Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney. But here's the story, and we'll play you the audio in a moment. Miller Lite's pro-women ad from March went viral on Monday as conservatives blasted the video as woke, with many drawing parallels to Bud Light's current marketing controversy. However, Miller Lite released a liberal ad campaign around the same time period that has recently gone viral for alienating beer drinkers. In an ad celebrating Women's History Month, Miller Lite used comedian Lana Glazer to condemn the bikini-laden women beer ads of years past. So we'll play you the ad in a moment. But I want to say just a couple of things. Because, we were all over this Bud Light story. The boycott has certainly worked. Bud Light's, market share dropped by 26%. But there's a couple of things that bother me about this story. And some of what I am going to say is somewhat phony outrage. All right, so the ad came out 2 months ago. Nobody has said a peep about it until now. Number two, at least they are using in their ad for Miller Lite, they're using a biological woman. Okay, they're using a legit female, not Dylan Mulvaney in Fantasyland pretending to be something he's not. So I have no problem with Miller Lite using a female that is actually a female. And oh, by the way, too, there are some women out there that like IPAs or heavy beers and lagers. But I would also say, and I'm just guessing here, just rough speculation, it's not like Miller Lite is exclusively to dudes. Hey, let's get off, because my brother-in-law was this guy for a long time. My favorite drink in college was a vodka cranberry. He used to bust my chops all the time.
Did you put a little umbrella in it?
No, I put a little lime wedge in there, but just a splash of cranberry for coloring. If it's too red, I'm not drinking it. And I'm like, wait a minute, dude. You bust my stones for drinking vodka cranberry, and you're drinking Miller Lite. All right, you're 95 calorie light beer. Don't act like you're drinking tequila shots or Guinness draughts, right?
Wait, vodka cranberry was your drink in college?
That was the first thing I mixed vodka with. Yes, cranberry. Now I just drink it straight because I'm 39 and I'm miserable, and I just go right for the kill shot. When you're 21 and you're 22, you're drinking Bankers Club vodka, which will poison you in its own right, and a little splash of ocean spray. And he's sitting there. I'm like, dude, you drink Miller Lite. I'm like, I like Miller Lite, but you can't be light beer guy and act like you're a hardcore drinker. Give me a break with that. So I would say there's probably, and this is a total guess on my part, I don't know, 10, 15, 20% of Miller Lite's sales and consumption could very well be by females. I've seen Eagles go to Eagles games, go to Phillies games. Females are drinking, Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Lite.
I think that's way high.
10% way high?
Yeah.
Really? So you think it's in a single digit?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I could be wrong. But we're not going to make it act like Miller Lite is exclusive to dudes. But let's play you the audio. This is the ad that apparently has conservatives all up in a tizzy, and I don't really see the outrage, but you be the judge.
Here's a little known fact. Women were among the very first to brew beer ever. From Mesopotamia to the Middle Ages to colonial America, women were the ones doing the brewing. Centuries later, how did the industry pay homage to the founding mothers of beer? They put us in bikinis. Wow. Look at this wild. It's time beer made it up to women. So today, Miller Lite is on a mission to clean up not just their but the whole beer industry's Miller Lite has been scouring the internet for all this and buying it back so that they can turn it into good for women brewers. Literally, good How, you ask? Ladies, take it away.
First, we turn the bad into compost. Then we feed compost to worms. Push out beautiful fertilizer. That good helps farmers grow quality hops, which is then donated to women brewers to make their own really good
But there's definitely more out there. In your attic, in the garage, in your parents' basement. Send any you got into Miller Lite, and they'll turn that into good too. Oh. So here's to women, because without us, there would be no beer.
All right, so there you go. That's Miller Lite's ad. And if you were watching it on YouTube, you can see the females that are out there, doing like landscaping and mulching and a lot of blue-collar, manly work. I don't get the backlash. This, to me, is not even remotely close to Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney because the big difference is they're using real women in their ad.
Yeah.
Not dudes masquerading around as women. I don't know, Dawn, so let me ask you this, Don. Is this a feminist ad? Are men being pigs here by saying that Miller Lite went woke with this ad? I don't see it. And I would love to be outraged, but I don't fake the outrage.
Yeah, to me, it's not necessarily woke. It's more of it's a pro-woman, pro-biological woman ad, but it's also snarky and edgy having attitude because she's saying, and the way she looks, the way she's dressed, she's not trying to be sexy.
Right.
So she's saying, women are smart, we like beer, but they're all biological women.
Yeah, and she's got a skirt on.
Yeah, she has
she looks attractive.
Yeah, she's attractive.
Yeah, but she's not in a bikini.
Yeah, she's attractive, fit, but she's not in a little bikini.
Yeah. So the outrage over the top or justified from conservatives that made this go viral yesterday?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's over the top.
I think women, to me, I have no problem with that ad. Do men think, oh, here we go?
Seriously,
now you're not catering to let's face it, you're not placating to the bulk of your audience, no question about it. Yeah, I mean, by and large, Miller Lite and beer is consumed by dudes. Greg Stocker thinks it's in the single digits. I'm guessing somewhere between 10 and 20%.
I got to ask you, did this air anywhere? Because
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it, and it's a little risque for regular TV, is it not?
Right, because she's saying
the S word
over and
over and over again.
They bleep it out.
Bad S to good S.
Right. Yeah. We didn't clean that up. That was as is.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't recall ever seeing this.
No,
ad.
I don't either. So somebody, in conservative land went back and found this ad and then made a nothing burger into this big inferno yesterday. I don't get it.
It almost sounds, and somebody on the YouTube chat brought this up, and I agree with it. It almost sounds like an SNL skit.
Yes. And she is a comedian.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I didn't know until I read the story on FoxNews.com about this, that this was actually at the same time, if not maybe a few days before, the Bud Light ad dropped. So this was not like Miller Lite not understanding that, you go woke, you go broke, the whole bit, and being, totally naive to Bud Light's failures. Like, this came out roughly at the same time, and I have no recollection of this ad. So,
yeah,
I hate to do it to conservatives, but I think you're reaching here.
It's kind of saying that guys don't like to look at hot women in bikinis. We do. I hate to say it.
Oh, of course. Yes. No question. And actually, I'm glad you bring that up.
But if you're going to, advertise to a male population between the ages of 18 and 34,
yep,
hot women is going to do the trick.
Whether or not this was, something that triggers people or not, apparently it has. I'll just say this: if you're Dick Yingling today, I mean, you've got to be loving life.
Yeah.
First Bud, now Miller.
Yeah.
I'm putting out another, rugged, manly American commercial.
Yeti 376 on YouTube says it's 7:30 in the morning, and I want a Miller Lite, so it works.
Well, I mean, I want a Miller Lite as well.
But really, you want a Miller Lite? I just think it's. You're talking about Bud Light or Miller Lite. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's the lesser beer. It's kind of cruddy beer.
Right.
And so they need these big ad campaigns. I think to your point about Mr. Yingling, he's like, I got good beer.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you have a really good product, you don't have to have dancers and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just good.
Yeah, and beer and bikinis and feminist ads are nothing new. This has been going on for well over 30 years, and we actually have the audio to prove it. Let's go back down in the time machine, Greg Stocker, if we can, to my hero, Al Bundy, talking about beer. Let's take a listen. Married with Children, circa 1993.
But unlike evolution, I am not letting you off the hook, Al. Now, can you please tell me what a woman's body has to do with selling beer?
All right. Number one, if it wasn't for beer, there'd be at least 3 people who probably wouldn't even be married. Me, Jefferson, and probably Lisa Marie Presley. And number 2, since men buy beer, advertisers have to cater to what we want. And, hold on to your corncob pipe, we like pretty women. Ergo, pretty women sell good products, ugly women sell tennis rackets. Pretty women cars, ugly women minivans. Pretty women make us buy beer, ugly women make us drink beer.
Truer words were never spoken, folks. Ugly women sell tennis rackets. But Dawn's a minivan person, so I can't really condone the last part where Al says, pretty women cars, ugly women minivans, because Dawn's within striking distance of me, and I want to get out of here alive today.
No, I mean, the minivans are also a period of your life when you're kids. You need that that sliding door at Carline.
Yep. All right, if you guys want to jump in, 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to jump in.
No.
Okay. I'm getting tweets now. John Doe by Choice says the Miller Lite ad is woke and feminist, but it's a garbage ad. Woke woman power garbage. It's the Captain Marvel of beer ads.
Great. That is a great line.
And Captain Marvel sucked.
It did.
Nice work by John Doe by Choice. 855-839-1210. What's on the cut sheet is about 10 minutes out. We're back after this with some thoughts on Joe Biden yesterday and another set of cancellations.
Live life to the fullest. Yeah, you hear that all the time, but it's easier said than done when you're in pain. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. QC Kinetics really does give people all over our region back their quality of life by providing much-needed relief for chronic joint pain. Doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments from your body's own natural biologics. QC Kinetics concentrates these impactful treatments right at the source of your pain, directly applying healing properties where you need them the most. No surgery, no downtime, no steroids or harmful drugs, and patients are raving about the results. What does living life to the fullest look like for you? Finally being able to play golf, walk your dog, enjoy time with your family, or just do your job without pain, whatever it is. Don't wait one more day. Call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consultation with locations around the Philadelphia region. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Toyota is proud to present the 96 Stotesbury Cup Regatta on the Schuylkill River, May 19th and 20th. Enjoy the Toyota experience in Stotesbury Village near the grandstand finish line, where the 2022 Camry and RAV4 hybrids will be on display. Come and visit the world's oldest and largest high school rowing competition along the Schuylkill River and see the 2022 Toyota Tacoma, plus a special Eagles-branded Tundra iForce Max at the Athletes Village near the launching dock. See you at the regatta. Toyota, let's go places.
Here's retirement phase expert Phil Cannella with today's report.
Have you ever wondered or even considered the difference between credited interest returns and gains on Wall Street? One you get to keep and control. The other one comes and goes. We're going to analyze investors' returns on the S&P 500 from 2000 to 2015, and then we're going to compare them to a certificate of deposit only compounding at 2% during that same time period. Using data curated by Delbar Corporation, which is this country's leading analytic firm over Wall Street, investors only averaged a total of 2.66% per year from 2000 to 2015. Now, this does indicate that $100,000 invested in the year 2000 through 2015 has grown to an estimated $128,000 or less when you consider the fees in one's portfolio. But you also must remember how much time was lost during that 15-year period. You grew it, you lost it, now you have to regrow it. Now that's being victimized by Wall Street and the two market crashes and then waiting to recover your lost gains. Now, had the same investor put $100,000 in a certificate of deposit with a compounding interest rate of 2% from 2000 to 2015, that investor's principal would have grown to $135,000 with no fees, no market loss, and no lost growth time. Now, knowing the difference between credited interest returns and gains that are vulnerable to market risk and fees can shield you from the dangers of Wall Street so you can enjoy a retirement with peace of mind. Stop losing time with Wall Street and start gaining time in your retirement.
To hear more reports that will impact your financial future, join Phil Cannella and Joanne Small this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Crash Proof Retirement Show, only on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
This is Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Free speech lives here.
Kayal Company, welcome back in. 7:40 Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You can stream us on the Odyssey app. You can watch us live on YouTube. What's on the cut sheet coming up in about 5 minutes. Still ahead this morning. GOP reps fighting the good fight, urging Ford, Tesla, and other automakers to keep live-saving AM radios in new car models. We've got a new update to the battle to keep AM radio in new cars. We'll get to that story. And then also Joe Biden canceling a speech and the Biden administration attempting to cancel one item in your school cafeteria for your children. We'll hit on those stories as well. But just to put a bow on the Miller Lite debacle that everybody is losing their mind over. Here's where I think you do have some validity as to what the intentions are of Miller Lite. If you think that ad that we played for you, with the biological female, by the way, not Dylan Mulvaney, is left-wing and woke. So Sophia Colucci is the chief marketing officer for Miller Lite, which is owned by Molson Coors Beverage. And apparently she has a history and a past history of supporting many liberal causes, such as gun control, protests for George Floyd, illegal immigration, and the COVID-19 vaccine. Social media posts that were reviewed by the Daily Caller had found. She has since deleted many of the posts, according to the Daily Caller. However, the Caller took screenshots of her posts before they were deleted. Colucci donated and shared a fundraiser on her Facebook page that goes to reuniting migrants with their immigrant families. She also shared another page regarding the Las Vegas shooting, saying members of Congress who receive donations from the NRA need to meet with the victims and implement stricter gun laws. And in another post, she praised the Pope for stressing the importance of the COVID-19 vaccine and said people who were reluctant to get the vaccine would hopefully be steered by his actions. So she's definitely a liberal. She's, in all likelihood, a left-winger. So I totally understand when you see that and you say, okay, well, she's in charge of the advertising, so now you tie it all together. It makes sense. I'm totally with you on those types of things. Just having watched and heard that ad, I have no problem with a beer company using a female, not having her in a thong bikini, and, putting out an ad the way, because I'm like, as I said, I didn't know this ad existed for the last 2 months. So I'm not going to pretend like I did and then just get outraged on May 15th. So.
Yeah, I just think nobody wants any of this stuff.
Right.
These agendas, whether it's in a kid's classroom or while you're sitting and watching whatever show. I just think all of these weird agendas, nobody wants this. Just do your stinking ad for beer. That's it. And that's if I'm the biggest person the person who has the biggest gripe is the person who came up with that Dilly Dilly campaign, which I think was pretty creative and pretty brilliant. It caught on, and it was silly and funny and cute.
Well,
and
we adopted it here with Philly Philly.
Yeah, Philly Philly, Dilly Dilly. So to say that that one, and I forget her name, she had like a German name, Heinrich or whatever her name was.
Oh yeah,
Heinerschneid. There you go. And she was, we're we're going to be less Friday.
Yeah.
And that is, I would love to hear this one of the Miller Lite talking.
Yes.
So these individuals, if you work with them in corporate America, are the biggest pain in the neck. And they're the ones who hold all these meetings, and it's laborious, and they want to talk about woke policies, and you need a beer.
Yeah.
They should do a beer commercial with a person like that in a boardroom where you have to go to the meeting and how you're sneaking a beer. Like 50 ways to sneak a beer when you have to work with this idiot.
Or a flask of liquor in your briefcase.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Not that I've ever done that. It's also interesting, too, because I think at the end of the day, regardless if I disagree with their policies and whether or not they should be shoving them down our throat in an ad, some of these people are very bright. So I've got to imagine that they know, because you saw what happened to Bud Light. They lost 26% of their market share. There must be some end game that they're playing for here, because they are taking the short-term loss financially for the sake of ESG and CEI and these social credit scores for their companies, because that's what we told you in the fallout of the Bud Light story. Well, why do these companies do this? We see them all fail when they do it. It's because they want to be ranked highly with their social credit score, because when you look at these big lobbying groups, and the biggest lobbying group in the nation, I believe, or something to that effect, what is the trans LGBTQ plus whole mumbo jumbo nonsense. And if your score is up higher, there's obviously some computation that says your business will thrive, because businesses are not in the industry and they're not in business to lose a quarter of their market share. Because if you go to somebody and say, hey, if you do this ad, that might be great for appealing to a small niche community, but you're going to lose a quarter of your market share. Every CEO will look at you and be like, no, you're insane. But there's some incentive behind all of this, because they all can't be this stupid to do all of these ads knowing it's going to alienate a big portion of their consumer base.
Well, I think a big ESG, I think a big part of it, and I know a lot of people are like, what the heck is ESG? Environmental, social, and governance funds, ESG. So these practices and strategies there are guidelines, and these are encouraged by the Biden administration. So this is how the Biden administration, to your point, Nick Kayal, you have to have compliance. And if you want certain tax cuts or certain government dollars, these are weaved into the fabric of tax code and the whole 9 yards. And they are not constitutional. They're against everything we believe in as Americans. It's shocking that they could even put this in there as regulators, but they have all these mandates. And the same with the climate change stuff. So to your point, I think that they looked at the guidelines and they said, well, we have these guidelines and we get these federal funds and we get these tax cuts and so on and so forth. And that's why they did it. But there's a huge backlash. And by the way, I think once all of these ESG, and there are already lawsuits, but once all of this goes through the courts, it's going to lose. It's going to be thrown out of court.
Good, as it should. Nice stuff. I'm exhausted.
By the way, in Exile in Jersey on Twitter says there's no outrage about this ad. It's just a bunch of YouTubers who are getting lots of views over the Bud Light fiasco trying to keep the train running.
Okay.
So, Carmen on YouTube says, I don't understand why they are apologizing to women now. We're becoming obsolete anyway.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen.
By the way, streaming live on YouTube,
Yeah, buddy.
youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. Hit the subscribe button and check us out over here right now on YouTube, streaming live for all 4 hours.
All right, 7:48 Tuesday morning. Time for What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the cut sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Tuesday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo, where Costco members save like $2,500 on the XC40, or $1,000 on any other model. These can be combined with other offers. See store for details. Check them out on Route 70 in Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Thank you, Cherry Hill Volvo, for sponsoring the ever-important Tuesday edition of What's on the Cut Sheet. Yes, the ever-important Durham report dropped yesterday at 4 p.m. Maybe just as you were getting out of work or didn't really have time to digest it.
Interesting.
Luckily, we're here live for you all day, every day.
That's right.
How did the networks handle it? CNN, I think they kind of did an okay job with some of the stuff they did. This was their report when it first broke yesterday in the 4 p.m. hour, saying that the FBI should have never launched the Trump-Russia probe.
Oh.
Evan, I just want to reiterate two of the key takeaways that you noted. First, Special Counsel Durham concluding that the FBI should never have launched its investigation into connections between Donald Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 election.
Wow.
So keep in mind that Donald Trump has a defamation suit against CNN for the Russia probe and the hoax. So I'm not surprised that somebody on CNN would be saying something like that because, I don't know, the network could lose up to a half of, $100 billion?
Wait a second. Hang $100 billion?
Or no, so what did I say? $475 million, right?
By the way, it's really hard to sue somebody for defamation and then appear on their network.
That's true as well.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that case has much merit, but
okay.
Or don't appear on their network. Just what I'm saying.
That's true.
CNN's Evan Perez says that the Durham report finds the FBI failed in its responsibility to the public. By the way, this is CNN. Just remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Now an investigation that's 4 years in the making, and we finally have the conclusions, more than 300 pages released by the Justice Department. Now it has now been transmitted to members of Congress who also are going to want to bring John Durham in to review some of the findings. But the bottom line is this. The investigation found that the FBI failed in many, many ways, things that we already knew from a previous Inspector General report, and I'll read you just a part of it, of John Durham's conclusion. He says, based on the review of Crossfire Hurricane and related intelligence activities, we conclude that the Department and the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law in connection with certain events and activities described in this report.
When you hear Republicans say this is why we need to disband the FBI, this is another example. When you hear Republicans say the weaponization of the DOJ or the federal government and branches within and agencies thereof, this is why. These are the things we're talking about.
So let me ask you guys this, is there relief yesterday when this dropped, saying like, see, I told you, or is there outrage because from all of these findings, a lot of which people claim that they've known for years, there really aren't any charges being brought on.
But there's going to be harsh criticism, as the headline from the AP said. No, see, it's interesting. You say relief or outrage. Neither of those two words came into my mind. I came up with the word vindication. Like, this is once again where Republicans are like, aha.
I understand what you're saying, but if it doesn't pierce through the mainstream media, which I have clips that they did cover it last night on the evening news shows, but not in the same way that even CNN is covering it.
Yeah, I don't think from like a voting standpoint that this will sway a moderate or an independent or an undecided person into Trump's camp. Because what do we always talk about on this show? we are in the weeds. Like, we live it, we breathe it, we talk about it, we read about it, we write about it, we research about it. But for like the average everyday American that spends 8 minutes a day watching the news or gets their news from Facebook or Yahoo, and they don't see this story, it's not going to get to them, right? Like, it's not going to all of a sudden, oh, wow, so they really went after Trump for 4 years and came up with Ungats? Okay, I'm gonna vote Trump now.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens.
Persistence over resistance says justice is coming. Okay, okay.
For who?
I assume for the people who, the Obamas, the Clintons, the Bidens. I mean, like.
Well, see, that's the thing that is infuriating.
There's nothing's going to happen to them, guys. Nothing.
It's like nothing ever happens to any of these people.
Yeah.
It's just such a charade, which is why where I do get outraged, to use your word, is we just waste so much time and so many resources on these. Hey, I'm going after you, and I think I've got you nailed and dead to rights. And then, like yesterday, the headline came out about James Comer, and he can't he can't track down the informant, which is why I blew a gasket on the Big Take on Friday.
Yeah.
Stop giving me crumbs.
Yeah. Ipso facto on YouTube says maybe some might be charged for lying under oath, but nothing will come of it. I don't even think they're going to be charged for that.
No. Well, hell, Fauci perjured himself 4 to 5 times. Allegedly. In my world, he perjured himself. But
Dawn is always trying to look out.
I know.
That's why I love
She's
her.
like the mama bear of the show.
Being your attorney.
Thank you, Dawn.
Dawn, do you think that anything's going to come of this? Yeah.
Nope.
Dawn's our Joe Tacopino.
No, I mean, it's terrible. We went through years of this. We paid for it, and we deserve all the answers, and we deserve all the transparency. And then they'll say, oh, well, it's all politicized.
Yeah.
Well, he deserves some harsh criticism and a spanking machine. And it's a big nothing burger, even though it's what our instincts told us.
Yes.
Our gut instincts told us this was all BS.
But this,
and it was.
This falls in line with another set of circumstances, and it's a pattern. It's a theme. It's a trend where Republicans, conservatives, Trump supporters say X, Y, and Z. We get ridiculed, mocked, and laughed at. And then when proven right years later, you never hear the apology. Just like with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Oh, if you don't get vaccinated, you're going to kill your grandmother. And we find out 18 to 24. What have I said on this show? Give it 18 to 24 months. In this case, it was more like 48 months. But give it time, and eventually all the stuff that's labeled conspiracy theory and right-wing talking and rhetoric, and then I'm not saying it always comes to be proven to be false, but, I think Republicans are smart people.
JR on YouTube says, because you, meaning I guess me and maybe you, Nick, I don't know, maybe he's just speaking to me, do not understand the enormity of the situation. That is why nothing will happen. Well, I have nothing to do with this. I'm just telling you what the average, every ordinary day person is thinking and seeing. They're not seeing this. So stop.
Yeah.
Stop. My Lord. Like...
let me. Is my fader up? I've got a perfect spot to work this in for Greg Stocker for all the outrage you're receiving.
Can we stop getting our news from Twitter?
But
it has nothing to do with my point of view on this. It has to do with will anything happen or not.
Right.
No, it will not. Stop.
And we realize the enormity of it. And that's why you have even further division in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a huge section of the country that looks at all of this. And every time, it's every time we see something in the headlines and, oh, this is a bad one. And remember when Mar-a-Lago was raided? We could go on and on. The impeachment stuff. We knew it was a joke. We felt that we didn't even have the facts, but we said, okay, we'll be fair. We'll look at every single thing. But in our gut instinct, we thought, nah, this stinks. This is all partisan politics, and this is all, rigged.
Yeah.
And every single time you go back over the years, just like I thought. And then you look at the pandemic. What's the problem here?
Yeah.
It's like that little old tale of the boy who cried wolf.
Right.
Which probably nowadays you're not allowed to even say the boy who cried wolf.
It's offensive to girls that want to cry wolf.
It's the individual child or something crazy.
Any gender can cry wolf, Dawn.
But so when it matters, there will be something that comes along that is a big deal, and you're going to have half the country that does not believe it. And that is a problem. This is dangerous.
And I'm so glad you brought up the word divide, because Joe was supposed to be the uniter, right? And he's the great divider. That was the theme of the big take yesterday. And the reality is this, ever since this administration took office, and even prior to that, because this stuff was going on, these investigations into Trump and Russia were happening while Trump was president. So I don't want to hear any more about the Democrats and the left being uniters, because they are the ultimate dividers. And for the last 7 or 8 years, they have done nothing but issue divisive rhetoric. White supremacy is running amok. I'm so tired of all that toxic vocabulary just to pander to a few people for votes. They're the dividers.
Yep.
How did Jake Tapper report this?
Regardless, the report is now here. It has dropped, and it might not have produced everything of what some Republicans hoped for. It is, regardless, devastating to the FBI, and to a degree, it does exonerate Donald Trump.
Wow.
And then it brings me to this, between the FBI, CNN, it's no wonder that the everyday American that has somewhat of a clue of what's going on doesn't trust any of these governmental agencies, and also doesn't trust the media, right? I mean, you think of all of the different agencies, from the CIA to the FBI to the DOJ, on down the list. And then you go to the media. You go to all the mainstream platforms, from, the CBSs, the ABCs, the NBCs, the MSNBCs, the CNN, the Washington Post, the Philadelphia Inquirer, the New York Times. It's like, again, conservatives are outnumbered from a media standpoint, 7-1, 8-1, 10-1. And it's no wonder why nobody trusts the mainstream media. If you are remotely competent and paying attention at just a basic level, you can see how biased and agenda-driven they all are.
That's so true.
Yeah, I just look. I'm looking at this politically, and I'm just saying that this may be the result that conservatives wanted. This may be a vindication for everybody, and this may have shown that the FBI is corrupt. But it's all things that everybody that listens to this station and this channel and this show knew already. It's not piercing through the everyday person.
To your point, I think it just reignites the base. It's like, if you're a big conservative, if you're a big Trump fan, it gets your blood boiling. Validation. But will it change anything from an election standpoint or the way people vote? No. So it's just like adding fuel to the own fire that you have internally for this stuff.
Because the majority of people are watching the evening news, and this is how both ABC and NBC reported it last night.
Instead, Durham found that the Bureau relied on raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence, noting that there was significant reliance on investigative leads provided or funded directly or indirectly by Trump's political opponents. An example, the so-called Steele dossier of allegations prepared by former British spy Christopher Steele. Durham found the FBI was unable to corroborate a single substantive allegation from the dossier. But Trump's own comments about Russia in the campaign added to questions about possible collusion.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
But Durham's investigation, which cost taxpayers $6.5 million, falls far short of proving there was a deep state conspiracy against Trump.
This is what the majority of Americans are hearing and seeing. So stop with this whole this is a game changer. It's not. It is not. It may be vindication. It may be true. Everything you thought and were called a conspiracy theorist forever might be true, but that doesn't mean it's getting through to everybody.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And for those that aren't watching the nonsense such as ABC or CBS News, like my wife, and I'm going to throw those kind of people under the bus, that don't watch any news and don't do any own research. They just scroll their Facebook. They see a liberal that reposted something on Facebook that was linked to Yahoo, and they say, oh, yeah, I know what's going on in the news. Like, you have no idea. You have no clue. You're getting one little shred of information in a world full of information. So
more from ABC and NBC last night.
The special counsel brought no charges against any senior intelligence or law enforcement officials. And the two major cases he did pursue both ended in acquittals. Durham only convicted one lower-level FBI official of misconduct in pursuing an electronic surveillance warrant.
Tonight, in his long-awaited report, the special counsel looking into the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation, blasting the FBI's performance as seriously deficient. John Durham concluding the Bureau was too quick to open an investigation into the Trump campaign in 2016 based on raw and uncorroborated information, while saying the FBI was much more cautious and skeptical about allegations against the Clinton campaign. Durham's report follows this 2019 report by the Justice Department's Inspector General, which found that the FBI made mistakes but was justified in opening the Trump investigation.
You know, what's also remarkable, too, is the resources that the FBI has. And, you know, this is supposed to be some of the best investigators with the best investigative techniques and technology and resources and funds available to them. And it's almost as if when it came to Trump and Russia, they were just totally neglecting many things that said this was a nothing burger, all in the pursuit of, you know, a vendetta. And it's just... And you wonder why. You wonder why people have questions. We'll get to this story coming up later. There's going to be a JFK movie remake with a real star-studded A-list cast. This is why people have their questions and their doubts about JFK. This is why people have their questions and doubts about 9/11. This is why people have their questions and doubts about any other type of mass shooting, the Las Vegas shooting, on down the list, is you have these moments where you clearly see that one of these agencies is corrupt and full of crap, and then that just creates this domino effect of where you question everything. And I think justifiably so at times.
Crafting with Shirley on YouTube says, why do we accept this? Why don't we use the same tactics back?
Exactly. Exactly. And think about the other day, that town hall with Trump in the first 25, 23 minutes.
Yep, all about the past.
Where they questioned him about the past, but they didn't ask him about this stuff. Did they?
Of course not.
And they never would. So
No.
they'll go on and on and on about, are you talking about the election stolen, blah, 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 blah.
Or January 6th.
Or January 6th, blah, blah. But they'll never bring up any of these issues, which in truth impact all of us much more. Because when you have the weaponization of DOJ, and we talked about Mark Houck a lot locally,
right.
when the feds, when the FBI or DOJ is weaponized in this partisan manner, we've seen school boards where, you know, parents of innocent victims are dragged out of a school board meeting.
And labeled terrorists.
Labeled terrorists.
Yeah.
We had the mom from Jersey, who's the original Ziola Army, where the feds showed up at her house. And, you know, that's freaky third world country stuff. That's McCarthyism.
Yep. Yes, it is.
People are frustrated. I can see it. You know what I mean? Like I understand. I understand the YouTube comment community is very hot and heavy right now. But
we like that.
It's look. You know, I'm just telling you reality of what's actually going to happen. Not what should happen, but what's actually going to happen.
But you would know too. You've been deep in the weeds in this industry for 2
20
decades.
years,
20
man.
years,
20
man.
years I've been doing this crap.
However, if a CNN wants to make a mark, and would somebody like a CNN start talking about this and break through? And could they, you just heard Jake Tapper say that. Would Jake Tapper have made that comment at CNN when they were under different leadership, now under Chris Licht? I don't have that answer. But if CNN, somebody like CNN, starts going after this story, starts doing the investigative type reports and revealing that, they could gather more credibility as well as new viewers.
Yeah, it's interesting because it feels to me like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They want the best of both worlds. They want to get away from being labeled as the Trump bashing network with no credibility, so they get rid of Don Lemon. But then you have the opposite. You have Anderson Cooper coming out bashing the network for the way they covered Trump. And then, of course, you got this story. It's like, you know, Chris Licht wants to be something that CNN used to be, but he still is showing plenty of tendencies and patterns of what got them in the same mess to begin with. So,
if we did an experiment, if we went down the street, down Market Street right now, people on their way to work, and had a camera and a video, one of the boys in the back did it, and we asked them about the Durham report or the Trump rape allegations, and that that finding, which one do you think that they would know more about?
I would say 19 out of 20 will go Trump rape.
And 19 would have never heard of the Durham investigation.
Probably not.
So it is very, easy to talk about here on this show, on Fox News, and podcast, whatever. But it doesn't get through to the majority of people that you need it to get through to.
Sadly, still goes to show you, even though people consume it less and less than ever before, the power of the mainstream media and the narrative and the spin that they can put on something.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, they're always going to tell you a story. They just might not tell you the story.
Yep.
So it's all about what you get fed.
Trek 2000 or Trek 200 on YouTube says maybe Elon Musk should buy CNN.
I think Elon Musk should just buy everything at this point. He already purchased Twitter, so he's in the social media space. He should buy a cable news network.
He's all over the place, though.
I know.
With stuff, because if you look at who's that woman that he just installed as the CEO or whatever for
Linda
Yaccarino.
She's from NBC, right?
Yeah.
She's a big lib, isn't she?
You would think. I mean,
I'm just saying,
but that also shows that he doesn't have a major bias, which I give him credit for. Because, after he purchased Twitter, it's like, oh my God, all of a sudden Elon Musk is a right-wing Trump supporter. And he's like, no, I actually voted for Biden, but I just value free speech.
Well, yes,
Right?
yes, but let's not everybody look at him like he's the Lord and Savior of everything.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So,
but it was just nice to have somebody allow people to speak their opinion on a platform.
I agree. Yeah. I think him buying it was a great thing.
Well, he even said it himself. He goes, I don't think anybody would label me a right-winger. I'm kind of big on the environmental aspect of life and, Tesla.
Can I believe, wasn't Yaccarino a Trump employee?
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sorry if I am, but I just saw NBC Universal, and I was just like, well, she's got to be on the payroll of
yeah, that's a fair assumption.
Comcast and all the other.
Sure.
Who's that dude? That bigwig
Dick
here?
Ebersol?
No.
In 2018, Trump appointed Yaccarino to serve a two-year term on the administration's Council of Sports Fitness and Nutrition.
Okay.
So she is not a Democrat liberal person.
Okay, good. Then I'm mistaken. I saw the NBC Universal thing and I just assumed maybe I shouldn't have. The attorney for the Marine vet Daniel Penny, Stephen Razor, was interviewed with by Jeanine Pirro. I'm sure both you and Dawn saw this last night.
Actually, sir, I was dropping the wife and kids off at the airport, listening to Zioli Stuck on 76.
Wow,
so
very good.
I
Look
missed
at
the
you.
5 last night.
Look at you.
And I have actually not seen the 5 since last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm going through withdrawal, I got to tell you.
Uh-oh.
I got to tell you.
He likes Judge Jeanine.
I like my judge.
Regarding of the choking of Jordan Neely, she asked him about this, and this is what he said. This is the attorney for Daniel Penny.
Okay.
Daniel has been called a murderer by some, a vigilante by others. Many claim that he acted based on race. What do you say to those people?
None of that is based on the facts. As to race, it's simply not the motivation for Danny. He is the one that put himself in danger. To save who? All the people on that train. The black people, brown people, white people, it didn't matter to Danny. Danny put his life at risk to save all those people. It has nothing to do with race.
From my vantage point, I agree with that completely, because if let's just change the dynamics there for a second. Let's keep it with the Marines, the white guy still, and the guy acting nuts, throwing his jacket down, getting ready to throw down, saying, I don't care if I go to jail, blah, blah, blah. You think that Marine's going to do anything different? I do not see it at all. Because I think when you're a Marine and you have that grooming and that pedigree and that background and that training, and you're in that moment, I mean, you can be a hero in action and you can be a hero on the streets like a good Samaritan, and that's exactly what this guy did. I don't think race was a factor. The only reason race is a factor is because the media makes it a factor.
Yes.
And the left wing, as we know, their whole playbook is based on what word? It starts with an I, and it's not inclusive. It is identity. They only care about your identity.
It's just it's sad that it's going to become a race issue, and that is exactly why she asked that question. Because if you think it's not going to be a race issue, you're fooling yourself. He went after this young white Marine, probably MAGA supporter, went after this poor, helpless black man because of his race.
I'm a little surprised that the family of Neely has not retained Ben Crump to be the attorney, because he's like the new Johnny Cochran.
Yeah.
He was the attorney for George Floyd. He was, I believe, also the attorney for the Memphis situation with the 5 rogue officers that killed the black guy in Memphis that we talked about right around, early January?
Yeah.
It was just post after New Year's? Yeah. I guess Ben Crump's he's all tied up in court. He wasn't available for this.
Well, we played that audio yesterday of the attorney on Friday when he was speaking, and it's just astonishing now that the family of Jordan Neely now all of a sudden wants money and wants to help him. You know, when they didn't seem to. I mean, I don't know their family dynamic, but they didn't seem to want to help him before.
Which is, we're at the point too where some of these attorneys that immediately jump on the big high-profile, media-driven race case. These attorneys are now no different than the ambulance chasers that are known as personal injury lawyers. Where as soon as this big accident, these guys are just quickly running to take the case to scoop up compensation and make money off of the whole situation. That's what these attorneys are, and these are some of the kind of attorneys that when I was really driven to go to law school in college. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a prosecutor. I just believe in law and order and justice. Just give me the facts. I don't need the nonsense. I heard this morning too on the Fox News rundown before we came on at 6. Whoever the host was that was interviewing one of the panelists, and they were talking about, will race be a factor in this case? We need to get past the race issue in a court of law, because the only thing that matters is the facts. But yet, sadly enough, juries vote on emotion and feelings.
How is the lifting of Title 42 affecting cities, Democrat-run cities, Nick Kayal? This is Governor Kathy Hochul from New York talking about the illegal immigrants that are coming to her city and state. This is what she said.
Well, Reverend Al, hearing the numbers going down is...
By the way, let me just say, can we stop with Reverend Al?
Yeah.
Reverend. He's as much of a reverend as I am. Reverend Al. Give me a break. Ugh. Oh, yes, Reverend Al. It's like, oh, God. Sorry.
Yeah.
We continue.
Talk about jumping the shark, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
He's 30 years past his expiration.
Dawn, you were going to say something?
Nope.
Okay. She's keeping herself out of this comment.
Good news, but it's small comfort to us because the word we're getting is that the majority of these individuals who are crossing, and still high numbers, are coming to New York State. And we already have over 61,000, over 40,000 housed in New York City. They're bursting at the seams, and Mayor Adams is doing the very best he can in a difficult situation. We have stepped in $1 billion from the state budget I just enacted. We also are giving legal help to people, and now we're in the position of trying to help find places for these individuals. I asked the federal government to give us emergency funding. I'm asking for federal installations, like military installations, to help out. Let us have a large field and operations. We can put up the tents. You're going to start seeing people living in tents, not just on the border, but in the streets of New York and across New York State, because we've reached a breaking point.
Wow, bursting at the seams.
We've reached a breaking point.
A breaking point.
Yeah.
It's like me in a size 36 pants on Thanksgiving after dinner. I'm bursting at the seams, and I've reached a breaking point. Kathy Hochul. Isn't it amazing, too, how whether it's Eric Adams or any mayor that's a Democrat or any governor that's a Democrat in a blue state, how they're all basically begging Joe Biden for help. And this administration, they're so hell-bent on bringing migrants over and flooding this country that they don't even care if it works against their own party in the cities that they operate and control.
What's interesting about this is I actually hear a lot of Democrats speaking out. I heard Cuomo speaking out about it, former Governor Andrew Cuomo. You have that Cuellar guy down there in Texas.
Yep.
There's a lot of he says this about the migrants.
We're at the breaking point, particularly with regards to resources in terms of capacity and space, as well as money. We've expended close to $17 million since the end of the year on helping our migrants. With a little help from our state, the state has certainly leaned in, and they certainly have provided more support than the federal government. We just received notice, as you may know, last week that after spending close to at the time we applied for support from the federal government, $12 million, we received $900,000 from the federal government. Unfortunately, municipalities like Denver, as you mentioned, Chicago, D.C., New York, and others are bearing the burden of the responsibility of the federal government, and unfortunately, it's stressing our resources locally. I've had to inform my agency leads last week that we may have to face some cuts. We're going to do everything we can to avoid that because we don't believe the people of Denver should have to suffer in terms of their services they receive from the city because the federal government hasn't leaned in.
So we've got New York and we've got Denver, both, quote, at the breaking point, proving once again that Democrats all use the same buzzwords and phrases, but the reality is these are both true. But I was told yesterday that according to the Veep, now turned the AI czar, everything's running smoothly.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's down 50%.
She doesn't know, but she's heard.
Right.
That's what she said yesterday.
Right.
She doesn't know, but she's heard.
Right. Well, she hasn't been to Europe either, but I don't know what we're trying to get at here.
By the way, streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. If you're watching right now, please hit the like button. And if you're listening and not watching, when you get to your destination, please hit the subscribe button. We like to get to 3.1 by the end of the show.
I'm having a flashback to that moment where they asked her, whatever mainstream media person said, but you've never been to the border. And Kamala, I mean, think about the level of gumption. You got the stones to say, well, I've never been to Europe either. Like, that's your answer. That is peak arrogance right there. You're tasked with protecting the border, and you've never been there. And your answer when you're called out on it by softball left-wing media is, well, I've never been to Europe either. That would be like Greg Stocker saying, hey, Nick, I need you to go down to a mayoral press conference at some point in the 2023 calendar year. And I don't go there. And Greg says, you still haven't gone down to one mayor press conference. I asked you to do that. What's the deal? And I'm like, well, Greg, I've never been to Pittsburgh either.
Have you been to the border?
No.
Dawn has been to the border more than Kamala.
More than
has.
Kamala,
yeah.
yes.
Speaking of Kamala, she was on it was either a radio show or our podcast yesterday, talking about her re-election campaign with Joe Biden. And this is what she said.
Listen, it's not going to be easy. It never is. There will be people throwing tomatoes when we're running. And I mean that. I don't mean that literally. I'm not trying to give anybody an idea. But I'm just saying, but it's worth it, Erica. It is worth it when you have the ability to serve.
It is worth it. She mentioned throwing tomatoes?
Yeah, not literally, figuratively.
Oh.
People are going to be tossing tomatoes at her and Joe.
Yeah. I'm trying to see what Erica Campbell's show is, because I saw the video logo. Yeah. Well, everybody's got a podcast these days.
It's true.
So how does the Veep end up on that show? But you won't see her in too many other one-on-one type settings. Is this did this Erica Campbell graduate from Howard University, class of '86?
I am not sure. I look, it's clear who she's trying to reach.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is an African American host.
Okay.
I don't know, but I'm assuming. So the outreach goes to them.
Just like yesterday when
Screw
Joe,
everybody else.
Right. When we heard Joe giving the commencement speech at Howard University, and he makes it all about white supremacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then he follows it up by saying, and no, I am not saying this because I'm here at a black HBCU.
Yes.
As opposed to a white HBCU.
There's a reason in the last year and a half, he's been there, she's been there twice.
Yeah.
Howard University.
She was in the locker room post game after Howard got beat in March Madness. Imagine losing your college basketball career comes to an end, and you got to be given a post game speech from Kamala Harris.
Yeah. So I have this news segment from CBS over the weekend. I think this was CBS Saturday Morning, suggesting that bugs are a low-carbon solution to feed animals and the world's population.
Low carbon or low carb?
Low carbon solution, meaning good for the climate.
So eat bugs to save the planet. Okay.
CBS Saturday Morning stated that incorporating bugs into the human diet could be a real solution to the global food crisis.
Oh, okay.
So apparently, the next fad is bug eating.
Right. But how do these bugs identify?
Here's just part of the CBS Saturday Morning report.
We all know how important insects are for the environment, but climate researchers say bugs could be a game changer in the fight to protect the planet in ways you may not have imagined. Tina Kraus has the story from London.
Adding some insects to the mix is customary in the kitchen in some parts of the world. Now, climate experts think the protein-packed pests could offer a real solution to the global food crisis. Scientists in Germany are not pushing to get the critters on your plate. They see another benefit.
Our interest is to make insects as an alternative for the use of soybean-derived proteins.
Large-scale growth of soybeans has been blamed for extensive deforestation. Since farming insects takes less land and water, these researchers believe bugs could become the livestock feed of the future.
To have a more sustainable production of proteins, we need alternatives, and I see insects as a perfect tool.
Yeah. Zero chance I'm eating bugs, okay?
So they want to replace them with the soybean. So if you're going to use soy for something, or the soybean, just mix in some mealworms.
If you use soy milk, that we would be replacing that with bugs?
I don't know. Apparently, it's good for the environment to do so.
Have you ever
eaten bugs? No.
Eaten a snail?
Oh God, no.
No.
Escargot. That's a delicacy over in
France, I believe. Yeah. Now, I'm all for animals. I'll eat any meat. I will eat anything, and I mean anything out of the ocean. You name it. I'm not eating bugs. Zero chance.
Yeah. Even if it helps save the.
No. This planet could explode before I eat bugs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see that
on
being,
purpose.
Because I mean, in large part because I'm creeped out by bugs. Like I get like a bee around me, I go nuts. I hate bugs. Make me, especially spiders and rats.
Wait.
And mice.
So if there's a spider in your house, who kills it?
Well, I'll kill the spider.
Bad luck.
But
it's bad luck.
Yes.
Very bad
spider.
luck.
Wow.
Also, too, with praying mantises as well.
That's actually against the law.
Yeah, you can't mess with those things.
It's against the law to kill praying mantis.
Yes,
it's an
they are a
endangered species.
wonderful insect.
Who's going to stop? Like the praying mantis police are going to
No,
come
the
and stop
FBI,
you?
the FBI will come.
It's
for you.
true.
The weaponized bug section of the FBI.
The next Durham report will be on that.
But no, true story. When it comes to mice, I don't set the traps, nor do I scoop up the trap once it does its job. The wife does that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we had
You are such a...
I absolutely
She wants
am.
to say it.
Yes,
She wants to say it. Come on.
Hey, hold on.
Wussy.
Hold on a second.
Dawn, you better keep your mouth closed.
Yeah, no. What we had
A wussy with a P on it.
Exactly right. We had a couple of rodents in our garage in Nashville because my wife felt the need to buy all these things in bulk and store them in the garage, and they could pick up on it. So, we had a couple of traps, and the one trap caught the mouse, and that sucker was just, laying there. And I refused to go pick it up, so she grabbed it with the pooper scooper, threw it in a trash bag, and tossed it. We also had a snake in our garage in Nashville as well.
What kind?
I think it was just a gardener snake. Oh. Yeah. It was about 2 feet long, about 6 inches wide, maybe. No, not.
They won't bother.
Not like 2 inches wide.
The snake will eat the mice and the rodents. You want that?
Yes, exactly. We called pest control, and we also tried to call animal removal services, and they were like, "Well, why is there a snake there?" And my wife's like, "Well, we've had a couple of mice in the garage," and she's like, "Well, that's why, because the snake can smell that."
Yeah, so
And I'm just in the living room screaming.
Chuck Doherty on YouTube says, I ate my share of bugs before my 4th birthday.
Yeah.
Well, and Google this, and you'll get the exact number. But on average, I think human beings accidentally digest over, 20 or 100 bugs a year in their sleep.
That's what they say.
It's a true story, yeah. I don't know the specific number, but yeah, when you're asleep, there's all kinds of things going up your nose and in your mouth.
The one thing I'll tell you that might shock you is, we have these spiders in our house that we've had for years. They're like, I think it's a wolf spider.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big spider.
Right.
And obviously the spider that exists is the female with the female babies on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've gotten so used to them down in the basement. When I go to the laundry room, I'll go like, hey, Mama, you got to move away from my clothes. You know what I mean? So then Larry goes down there the one day, and he runs upstairs. And he goes, dude, we got these huge spiders down there.
He's screaming like Marvin.
It's like, man, it's creeping me out. And I go, just leave it alone. There are no bugs down there because these spiders, they don't have webs.
Yeah.
They are predators. And whatever's down there, they're taking care of business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see,
nature's way.
It's not
They
so
won't
much
bother
that I'm afraid of them. It's when you accidentally look down and it's like on your shoe or it's crawling up you and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, these are like on the wall. They're large
Yeah.
and scary looking, but they're not going to bother anybody.
Let me squeeze out Lori in Ringo's in here. She's got some thoughts on eating bugs. Lori, you go right ahead. You're on Talk Radio 1210.
Hi. Hey, Nick, I know you said you'd never eat bugs, but they don't care, whoever they is, whether you ever eat them. This is in the curriculum because I work as an aide in New Jersey public schools, and I have seen the benefits of raising and eating bugs used on a large industrial scale twice in the 3rd grade curriculum in the past year.
Wow.
Once in a group for kids who are maybe behind in reading, so they use it as a nonfiction, right, like piece for you read it and then you call the information. You find the reasons, the benefits of eating bugs versus raising cattle and all the resources that uses and eating beef.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then I saw it used in the gen ed classroom with a broader group of kids subsequently as, hey, this is a good idea. I think mostly from an environmental perspective. I don't know if it was in a health class or science social studies class. So you give the kids these messages enough, and that is where society will move over time. So I just want you to know, it's in the curriculum. I went to Longhorn last night to celebrate my daughter's graduation.
You get would you get a ribeye or a strip?
I get the cheap things so that my husband and my kids can get the bigger stuff. I got a Renegade sirloin. It was still great. Hey, I also want to say my daughter graduated from University of Pennsylvania yesterday, and we had to sit there, while the crowd, the crowd was adulated when he entered the stadium, unannounced, even unannounced. You knew he was coming because we had to be there at 7 in the morning for the body cavity search.
Full body,
which was real nice. And I'm sure we were saying he was probably still asleep. So I was highly resentful, and it semi-ruined my time.
Yeah.
But everybody in that stadium, well, not everybody, was standing up and cheering for him. It was disgusting.
So, Lori, your daughter graduates from an Ivy League school, but also has to deal with Joe Biden. It's kind of like a win and a loss on the same day, right?
I'm so conflicted that she went there. I was so proud of her for getting in on her own wit.
Yeah.
Okay, and I actually have, and the other one is also there now as a freshman.
Gotcha.
But she's a biochemistry major, and hopefully she's going to go on to bigger things that help people. That's what she's about. She's not a philosophy major.
There you go. Lori, thank you so much.
So, Nick, you and I have a mutual friend who will go nameless, even if you know who he is. Don't name him. He's a vegan. He says, dead animal flesh? Sure. Bugs? Nah, weirdos.
Oh.
Meaning, what's the difference?
Well, it's a great question. And I'll tell you this much. If I ate a bug and I did not know it was a bug, but it tasted good and you told me it was a bug, I would still continue eating said bug. See, my wife's the opposite. Like, my wife once had calamari for the first time. She didn't know what it was. I said, hey, that's squid you're eating. And she got really nauseous, and she refuses to eat it ever again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but wait a minute, you loved it. You devoured the whole appetizer. I got 2 bites.
Yep.
You got like 15. I told you what the truth is, and now you don't like it anymore. So if I knew that, I would still eat it.
Felicia on YouTube says, check Food and Drug Administration. You would not believe how many bugs and other disgusting things that we eat that are in prepared food. Anyway, regulations actually allow a certain amount. So we're actually eating bugs and we don't even know it.
Yeah.
As long as they're cooked, it's fine.
Yeah, how do you like your bugs? Regular, creamy, or al dente?
We probably eat, to your point, a lot of bugs all the time. It's just that you don't know it. They're cooked into whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. On Twitter, a more serious point, getting back to the Durham investigation, Ultra Underdog says to you and I, Nick, that attitude is a large part of the problem. The boo-hoo, poor me, nothing will come of it, defeated attitude is the problem. Nothing will happen unless we demand it happen and pummel them with it. Never let them forget, be a lion, not a victim.
So what else can we do? What else should we do?
Damn the victim attitude. It pisses me off.
Oh, okay.
Look, I'm just, you can speak for yourself, Nick. I'm just saying what it is. I get it. I understand the outrage.
I'm in agreement with you. I mean, it's not going to change for these people. It's not. I mean,
it hasn't changed
I know.
in anybody's lifetime.
Yes.
Why would it change now?
There's not enough people that consume the type of content and media we are in for it to have a lasting impact or a big change.
Yeah.
Because I've told you, these people only vote with their feelings. And you got people like my mother-in-law, I'll sit there and say, oh, did you see that Trump-Russia probe turned out to be a nothing burger? Yeah, so what? He's still an a-hole.
Exactly.
You're never getting to those people.
Exactly.
You're never going to change those people.
Yes.
Marcus Aurelius says it's garter snake.
Yeah,
not gardener snake.
I was going to correct you.
Yes. Garter snake,
We knew what
garter
you meant.
belt.
No, we didn't. Once again, he's wrong.
Wait, is that a grammar jar donation?
Yeah.
It's a snake jar donation.
One more, and then we'll get to Dawn's big three at 8:45. Sunday Night Baseball. I don't usually play this, but I found this appalling, and I want to get both of your takes on this. It was the Red Sox and Cardinals.
Okay.
They have this thing now where they interview the players while they're on the field.
Yeah, in the outfield, they put a little earbud in.
So stupid.
Yep.
This was first baseman Tristan Cassis? I don't know.
Don't know him.
This was the Mother's Day game.
Okay.
And this is what the reporter asked this baseball player.
Okay.
We had Alex Cora on. I know your mom passed away when you were young. What does Mother's Day mean to you and your brother?
Yeah, what happened was unfortunate to me, but I have so many mother figures in my life. Whether they have my last name or whether they don't, I've had so much support from everybody, around in and around my circle that I don't even feel like I missed out on anything. I know she's watching me every day. I know she's, smiling, proud of me. But yeah, for the most part, I think, I've been all right. What's up, Nolan? How we doing, baby? Good, man. You?
He's in the middle of the game.
So the guy's he's playing first base for the Red Sox. I'm watching the video. That was Karl Ravech, the announcer.
Okay.
And I don't know how far in advance these players are asked, hey, do you mind if we mic you up for 90 seconds during the third inning to give the viewer a new perspective, and if they agree to it or they just randomly hit him up at the last second. But I would like to think, because Karl Ravech was obviously prepared to ask that question, and he knew that this guy's mom passed away when he was young. I'd like to think that, hey, make sure, hey, engineer guy, tell the first baseman I'm going to ask him about his mom who passed away when he was 9. See if he's okay with that. Because if you just spring that on the guy in the middle of the game, I get it, it's Mother's Day, but you could tell that the guy was a little taken aback by it or caught off guard. He's like, well, yeah.
In the middle of a play, you're going to ask. I mean, come on.
Right. Like I don't know what his mom died from, but let's just say she had a heart attack. I don't know if I really want to relive that in the bottom of the third inning while I've got a runner on first. You know what I'm saying?
No, he comes off as a jerk and apathetic at best.
Yeah.
The announcer,
the announcer.
Yeah.
Because it's cringeworthy. This poor guy is trying to do his job, and in the middle of it, it's not even after the game.
Right.
It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's like middle of the cut sheets.
What would they have done if he would have? What seriously? What would they have done if the guy would have gone? Oh my! What if the poor guy had just had a breakdown?
I know.
What if the player is in the middle of? Do they choose when to ask them? Because What if he misses a play because he's answering a question?
Well, they do this with the golfers now, too. As they're walking down on one of the fairways on a Sunday, they'll put the earbud in, the Apple iPod earbud in, and these announcers ask them like 6 different questions as you walk 290 yards to your golf ball. And half the time you can't even hear the guy because there's wind blowing. Like, we need to do away with all this inside access stuff. Like, I don't need to hear from these guys.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm exhausted by it. They're just looking for new ways to reinvent dead broadcasts is what they're doing. Because they know sitting through a baseball game is monotonous.
One more, and then I think I will have gotten through it all. The Trump town hall was last week?
Last Wednesday.
The View is still bitching about it. This was yesterday's View. I thought this was like a repeat or something.
Okay.
This was yesterday's View. Still talking about CNN. CNN giving a platform to Trump.
So they had Thursday to talk about it. They had Friday to talk about it. The weekend to think about it, and they came back and rehashed it again
on Monday.
5 days later.
Yep. Still complaining about it.
All right.
Yes, and that's why I think I was so disappointed that CNN gave him that platform. I think that was a business decision.
Oh, yeah.
I think that CNN has lost so many viewers at this point, and they've defected to MSNBC and other places, that they want a chunk of that Fox News viewership. And they got a chunk of it and then lost it immediately. So now you have CNN, which used to be, in my view, an extremely credible organization, now giving credibility to a non-serious person and doing it for money. It's sort of from the CBS chairman's Les Moonves's playbook. Bad for the country, but great for CBS. What we saw with the town hall was bad for the country, but it was good for CNN briefly. Bad gamble.
Briefly. And we will actually have details, stats, and facts to back up how brief it was for CNN and where exactly they have slipped to coming up in a little bit. But Dawn, you've said this for many years. What made CNN great back in the day was when they were reporting live from war zones and on the ground with, reporters right in the heart of the action.
Yeah, and that's just it. That if you are out there and you have people in the field, the more you do that, the more you can't help but just report the news. Just do the news. It might be the good, the bad, the ugly. When you have those reporters on scene and they're not a pundit in a controlled environment in a studio.
Yep.
By the way, Newman Price says that Kyle Schwarber muffed a play last week because they had him involved in a conversation.
Oh, did he really?
Oh, that's bad.
Oh, Schwarber's not going to be happy about that.
Stop ESPN with that nonsense.
Yeah, leave Kyle alone.
Yeah.
Come on, media. All right.
That's what we could blame the media for. Bills losing last night. It's the media. Just blame them for everything.
Can you imagine if down the hall, that's all? It's the media's fault.
Yep.
Damn the media.
Yep.
It's like, welcome to the party, pal.
Exactly right. All right, that'll do it for what's on the cut sheet here on this Tuesday morning as we swing it on over to Dawn Stensland for the Big 3 at 8:41.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal Company.
On this 81-degree sunny day, it's Tuesday, Election Day, primary election day, sponsored by Fells Kids. So as we talk about Election Day, polls open at 7, close at 8 in Pennsylvania. Actually, the latest independent poll says 1 in 7 voters in Philadelphia is still undecided about who they will vote for in the huge mayoral campaign. Helen Gim, 21% with that tiny lead over Sherelle Parker and Rebecca Reiner, who have about 18-ish. So we're looking at all of those stats, and then Ellen Dom right below that. So it's a virtual tie, a statistical tie, as we say. The big campaign that's getting big national news is because, in a rare move, President Joe Biden sounds off and endorses a candidate, a Democrat from Delco. So this making huge news nationally. Why? Because it will decide the legislature, possibly, which way the legislature goes in Pennsylvania. So we'll no longer be blue, but will we go red? So this was after 12 years with majority Republican control of the House. Democrats, as you know, flipped a net of 12 seats back in November and then held that one vote majority by sweeping in those 3 special elections in February. We talked about it at the time. I mean, they were locking each other out of offices, a lot of nonsense going on. So today, the critical race, that's what Joe Biden has been talking about, is endorsing the Democrat who's quite a political partisan insider, and going against Katie Ford, military veteran, mom of an autistic child, educator, and native of Delaware County, by the way. So Katie Ford, apparently Democrats are very worried that she may pull this and upset the balance of the Pennsylvania House. But Katie Ford has, according to Democrats, who are the insiders, say this is a tough race. And I'll remind you that the Katie Ford campaign, one of their issues, they're saying, hey, we were lied about by Governor Josh Shapiro. In fact, Katie Ford, as a Republican, is pro-choice, allowing for those exceptions such as rape and incest, etc. Also, I will say, as far as Katie Ford, she is running up against somebody who's accused of being an enabler of a creepazoid sexual harasser, groper, and that's why we have the special election in the first place. So this is going to be a tight election. We'll look to all of that. New rules down the Jersey Shore. We've talked about Ocean City with some new rules, but we also have new rules. 2 new ordinances are in effect right now down the shore. This is the Jersey Shore to try to curb the teen misbehavior. Not everybody's happy about this. Sea Isle City's Promenade has long been, as you know, a teen hangout especially, but now you have to have a backpack that's see-through, and they have a curfew under effect for anybody under the age of 18 to 17 and under, nobody on the promenade between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So they do have exceptions for minors if they're with a parent or guardian, or if they're going to or from work, that sort of thing.
Oh, the poor Utes won't be able to run amok.
Yeah.
Go home and take your clear bags with you.
Yes, indeed. And number 3, we have to talk about Martha v. Megan. This has gone viral. Greg Stocker looking at the pictures of, homemaker maven, Macy's maven, Martha Stewart, who once served prison time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking pretty good at 81 on the first Sports Illustrated, cover girl, cover model to be an 81-year-old.
But I was told, you said this morning the polls opened at 7 a.m., correct?
Yes.
For Stocker, the polls opened up at 6 o'clock this morning.
I did.
Martha.
All I said at 6 a.m. was that she looked good for 81. That's all I said. Crap. My Lord. There was no ill intentions, or there was nothing nefarious about it. Stop.
Yeah, and to your point, in all seriousness, she's being interviewed about it. And she said that she actually thinks it's good. People look at an 81-year-old or whatever age you are and say, hey, be fit, be healthy, take care of yourself, and you can look good at any age.
Yeah.
So
age is just a number unless you're Joe Biden.
Well, we are sponsored in the Big 3 by Fells Kids. Join Fells Kids June 11th from noon to 4 for an afternoon of family fun, Fellstival, featuring free children's activities, food truck vendors, local artisans, Power Wheel giveaways, RSVP today at fellskids.org. I'm Dawn Stenslin, Kayal Company, Big 3.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Still ahead this morning. It was a short-lived spike for CNN. The GOP and reps fighting to keep AM radio alive in the future. And it will wrap up the 8 o'clock hour next with 2 cancellations from the 181-year-old that is not gracing the cover of Sports Illustrated. That's next. Kayal Company, Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Doors take us to summers away or winter adventures and afternoon getaways. Your dedicated Fidelity advisor can help you open those doors by working with you on a comprehensive plan to help you reach your wealth's full potential. Because doors were meant to be opened. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimum supply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE SIPC.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Hi, it's Rich Zioli. I'm joined here today by my friend, the co-president and CEO of Cooper University Healthcare, the one and only Dr. Anthony Mazzarelli. Dr. Maz and I are here to tell you about our buddy, Dr. Mike Venaria. Not only is he my dentist, he's my family's dentist as well. And not sure if you knew this, he's Dr. Maz's dentist too.
That's right, Rich. Dr. Mike Venaria is and has been my dentist also. And doctors choosing doctors, that can be quite a selective process. And not only do I go to him, but for years, my sister and my niece and my nephew, the whole family goes.
Well, it's no secret. We're all delighted by the care that Dr. Mike Venaria and his award-winning team provide, and you need to check him out.
Whether you're looking for pediatric, general, cosmetic, implant dentistry, you don't need to look any further. Dr. Venaria's office does everything. Dr. Venaria's office also exceeds all CDC guidelines and has always maintained the strictest infection control, like their centralized UV sterilization of airflow, which is incredibly important to me.
Locations are right over the bridge in Cinnaminson and Woodbury. Your perfect smile's waiting. Call 856-786-2020 or visit venariadental.com.
Growing a business brings pressure. It's not easy to maintain momentum and still keep employees engaged. Fortunately, there's Insperity. Their scalable HR solutions help me with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving my employees competitive benefit options. When my people are able to thrive, my business can adapt and prosper. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
At Cherry Hill Volvo, Costco members have a $2,500 incentive on the purchase or lease of an electric Volvo. There is a $1,000 incentive on all gas and hybrid 2023 models. Explore this safe and versatile 2023 XC90 and take advantage of special financing, a rate of under 5%. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo for a full list of extraordinary offers for both new and previously owned Cherry Hill Volvos. Visit us now. We have the inventory and we have competitive offers.
Hey, Ben Salem, tell your smart speaker play 1210 WPHT.
$8:50, welcome back in. Kayal Company, live here on a Tuesday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, streaming on the Odyssey app. You can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Subscribe, hit the like button, and be notified when we go live each and every morning. 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in. Morning Mystery Movie Clip coming up at 9:20. What's on tap for the Dawn Show? What's on the cut sheet part due? And who won Twitter today? All still ahead in the 9 o'clock hour, as well as the GOP and their fight to keep AM radio alive in the production of new automobiles. We'll get to that story. CNN had a little success with Donald Trump, and then it evaporated. No surprise there. We'll give you the details in a little bit. But really no surprise, even though this, I think, is somewhat shameful. The Biden administration and what they are looking to cancel in schools, as well as a speech that was canceled abruptly. So yesterday, we know that Joe Biden was in Philadelphia at the University of Penn for his granddaughter's college graduation. No problem with that. No problem whatsoever. Except when you abruptly cancel a speech that happens to honor fallen police officers. So this is, I think, a bad look. I get it. You have family obligations, graduations, the whole bit. Totally understand that. But I'm not surprised by a guy who his party has shown the least amount of respect I can recall in my lifetime for the profession of law enforcement. So the headline from FoxNews.com, Biden abruptly cancels speech honoring fallen police officers. A source told Fox News that Biden allegedly pulled out of the event to attend his granddaughter's graduation. The details are as follows. President Biden issued a video statement since he could not attend in person in honor of National Police Week, saying the answer is, quote, not to defund law enforcement, while also pushing for gun control. President Biden canceled his speech honoring fallen police officers for National Police Week, instead allegedly traveling to Philadelphia for his granddaughter's graduation. Biden was slated to deliver a keynote address at the National Fraternal Order of Police's National Peace Officers Memorial Service on Monday as the week honoring our nation's fallen law enforcement officers. The president, however, pulled out of the event seemingly at the last minute. His name had been already printed on the event program. And who does he send in his replacement? Attorney General Merrick Garland. He goes to show up. Don't worry, Joe, I got this. I don't have much going on with, searching through classified documents or launching investigations into Donald Trump on this day. So I can, I'll swing by. Don't worry about it. And guess who read the letter from the president in his absence at the event? Well, that was Antony Blinken, another stooge who is completely corrupt and lost. So here's my beef with this. Beyond the fact that is once again showing no respect to police, because they're the party of defunding the police, even though they deny it, even though we've got 9 minutes of receipts that we could always play back for any of the Democrats that say, I never said that. We've got the tape. I think, isn't this the way graduations usually work? Don't you get the invitation in plenty of time? Like, I remember when I graduated high school and college, whether it was May or June, those things kind of went out in like March or April. And you look at your calendar, you look at your schedule, you plan accordingly.
You know a year in advance.
Or, well, yeah. Of course.
They knew last October or August.
So they knew the specific date then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You might not know
right.
Necessarily, nobody knows it's 10 in the morning, but yeah, you know.
Right.
A year in advance.
You think Joe Biden is skipping out on a engagement that he is committed to that is dedicated to National Trans Week? National Black Lives Matter Week? I'd be willing to say no.
Yeah.
But boy, when it comes to fallen police officers, send Antony Blinken. Hey, Merrick, you got anything going on? Need you to swing by for a couple hours. Got a 10-granddaughter's graduation. Not a joke. Not a joke. So that's the first story.
Well,
can I just say
a couple things. Sorry. Okay. Number one, my question is, are they that worried about this Delco election? And is that part of why he was campaigning here? B, the worry about this is Hunter's daughter.
The one that he acknowledges. Not the 4-year-old that he has nothing to do with. But it gives her $20,000 a month.
And so as Maisie graduates, is the president, her dad is embattled. So is this a grandfather wanting to show support for Maisie, who, let's be honest, it would stink that you're graduating. It's a pretty wonderful thing, and your dad is embroiled, meaning Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So is it that, or is it that Biden is also giving some cover? Because if Hunter goes to the graduation and he's with POTUS, then he's surrounded by Secret Service and the media. It is at more than arm's length.
Yeah.
And so then it gives some cover for Maisie and for Hunter. There's no way that there is any media that's going to access them.
And let's also be real. Joe had no idea that his granddaughter graduated yesterday.
Yes,
he had to be told about that. He did not know that was the day.
By the way,
until Jill told him.
I said this yesterday, and I totally still believe it. He's the president of the United States. He gets a pass. He doesn't need to go. Jill can go.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to go.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying.
You're talking about the graduation.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as the graduation, why he would.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to the graduation party.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's on a Saturday.
So why did he have to go? So I think there was more to it. And I think two things. I think Hunter, think about the fact that on the same day, right as, the IRS is sort of allegedly retaliating against these IRS, officials who were investigating Hunter, on the same day, basically, Biden shows up here, and it's a big family thing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I think he did want to give cover to Hunter and to Maisie, but I also think there are a lot of important elections here locally, and I think this balance of power, Pennsylvania is a huge state, and so this is big. Remember, Josh Shapiro, we reported last week, was chosen to be on the advisory board. So moving forward, they need Pennsylvania's legislature to be D, So because think about what's at stake. All of the election rules can be rewritten if Republicans in the legislature are in control.
Yep.
So it's a huge deal.
Yeah. No, it matters. No question. 855-839-1210. We will come back. The Biden administration looking to ban one item that has been a great tradition in school cafeterias throughout this country. We'll give you the details on the other side. But first, here's Dawn Stensland with a word for QC Kinetics.
Yeah, and I've talked about QC Kinetics. I was up at the KOP lab and center that they have at the QC Kinetics there. They're really all over our region. Wonderful people, such skilled doctors, and great staff. Beautiful. They had little treats. I mean, you go in, they have lots of food and drinks and everything you could want. It's nice, and they make it comfortable. But you got to live life to the fullest. And that's a cliche that we hear all the time. But you think about this time of year, getting out, 81 degrees today, a beautiful week ahead with this crisp 70-degree weather for the rest of the week. But when you're suffering in pain, you can't do anything, whether it's your relationship, your job. Just think about working, going to work every day in pain, how it impacts your mind, your psychology, everything that you're doing, your level of success, whether it's your golf game or playing with the grandkids on the beach or the kids, that sort of thing. So wherever your pain is, I'm telling you, QC Kinetics, they're giving people across our region back their quality of life. This is big stuff. And they're giving much needed relief for chronic joint pain. Not just providing that relief, but doing it in the most non-invasive way possible using regenerative treatments. And these are game changers from your body's own natural biologics. So whether you're suffering your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your backs, wherever it is, QC Kinetics is going to concentrate these impactful treatments right at the center, the source of that pain, and then directly applying the healing properties right where you need them the most. What does that mean? You don't have downtime because you're not having some major surgery, and there are no steroids and no harmful drugs. Patients are raving about the results. So live your life to the fullest. Do what you want to do. You got to call QC Kinetics for your complimentary consult. At least give them a call. It's a free call. Locations across the region, 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. QC Kinetics, just call them, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Every once in a while, you come across a deal that you can't pass up. And if you live in an older home, you'll want to listen up. I've told you how USA Insulation completely changed how my home feels. I've told you how it's paid for itself in energy savings. And if you haven't had your home insulation upgraded yet, I'm here to tell you that now is the time. The discounts are bigger than they've ever been. This month, during National Home Improvement Month, you can get free install labor. You pay for the foam. USA Insulation will install it for free. Plus, there's an energy credit that puts up to $1,200 back in your pocket. You've got to take advantage of this before the summer heat. They can insulate almost any type of home, including brick homes. Over 100,000 homeowners can't be wrong, including me. 1-800-USA-FOAM. That's 1-800-USA-FOAM or USAinsulation.net, USAinsulation.net.
You got the alert this morning. Now get the whole story. Count on NBC 10 News today.
It's more than just headlines. It's news to get you ready for your day.
If you need motivation, here we go. We've got your playbook.
The most accurate hour-by-hour weather forecasts.
Traffic info to get you there and back easier. It's all you need to get up, get ahead, and stay ahead.
Make your mornings count with NBC 10 News today. Count on it.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. 40 days up to 40 pounds. Just say it with me. 40 days up to 40 pounds. The warmer weather is here. It's time to shed that winter fat and be slimmer before summer. Stop covering up with oversized sweatshirts and contact NJ Diet. They will contractually guarantee you'll lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in only 40 days. They use your hair, saliva, and blood work, along with bioenergetic scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone, so you can finally lose that weight. Then NJ Diet uses DNA info to help you keep it off. The best part, it's contractually guaranteed. You're fully supervised the entire time to make sure you're burning fat and not just losing water. You even get the doctor's personal email and phone number. So what are you waiting for? Book your consultation today by calling 855-5NJ-DIET or going to njdiet.com. Lose 20 to 40 plus pounds in just 40 days. NJDiet.com.
At Agora Cyber Charter School, all students can thrive in a classroom. Agora staff rallies around each student, giving them a sense of belonging through their own unique experience from the safety and comfort of their home. Live instruction is taught in real time by PA-certified teachers. Students have no barriers to reaching their highest potential, to being challenged, to being curious, to being connected. Agora serves Pennsylvania students grades K through 12. Enroll today for the 2023 to 2024 school year. Learn more and attend a live virtual open house at agora.org.
We at Aqua believe water is essential. That's why Aqua Pennsylvania invests more than $300 million yearly to ensure the treatment and delivery of safe drinking water to your homes and businesses. It's also why we ensure wastewater is treated properly and returned to streams and fields cleaner than when we removed it. You can save money and help the environment by finding and fixing leaks in your home, which can reduce your water and wastewater bills. Aqua, an essential utility, making sure quality water is there when you need it.
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com!
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show, Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Rumors spreading round United Texas town about the shack outside the game. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, 905, Kayal Company. As we continue, welcome back in. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. All week long, the playlist here on Kayal Company, courtesy of John Petrungolo, who was our Travis Manion Foundation big donor to steer away the music selections for the week from one Greg Stocker. Greg Stocker will still do the cut sheet. By the way, I don't think we actually, maybe moving forward, we should offer up like a one-day opportunity to like do part one or part two of the cut sheet.
When you said that, I just thought about that. Yes, that will definitely be
It might cost you like $10 million.
Incentive for next year's Travis Manion Foundation. Yes.
You could be the cut sheet maestro.
Yes.
How about that? You can just sit in there and like show them how to find the audio, and they can pick and choose what they want to play and how they want to introduce it.
I think it's a fabulous idea.
That's what I'm here for.
I know.
That's what I'm here for. All right, as we continue, 855-839-1210. Also live on the free Odyssey app. You can stream us, watch us on YouTube. A lot to get to here. Morning mystery movie clip and a great prize. We'll tell you about that in just about 14 minutes' time. But we do got to get to the AM radio situation in cars. Also, CNN has once again taking a turn for the worse in the world of ratings after Trump from last Wednesday, where they, for one night in the 8 o'clock hour, kind of had Tucker Carlson-esque numbers. But we mentioned about Joe Biden canceling his visit for the fallen police officers for National Police Week so he could attend his granddaughter's graduation. But the Biden administration also attempting to cancel yet another great thing about America, and that is chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Facing a potential ban in our school cafeterias. Dawn Stensland, as somebody that enjoyed their time in school cafeterias all the way up until senior year, where we were given privileges to leave the campus, get in our car, go to Pizza Hut, pay $4.99 for the Pizza Hut lunch buffet, and shove crappy pizza down our gullet. There were three things I loved about the school cafeteria, especially in elementary school and middle school. I loved Pizza Friday, where they would give us the frozen, like, rectangle slices of pizza. It was like the generic Elio's pizza from back in the day. Those were great. Taco boats were extraordinary. We had the option to pack a lunch or buy the school lunch. And when it was Taco Tuesday, I did not pack my lunch. I would always buy the taco. And the other one is chocolate milk. That is a staple to school cafeterias. But the Biden administration is trying to end that. Concerned about the amount of added sugar that children are now consuming, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is now considering a ban on all flavored milk, including chocolate, strawberry, and other varieties. I don't know if that means like banana flavored milk or what other varieties there are. I'm not even a huge strawberry milk guy, but chocolate milk all day. In elementary schools as well as middle schools, when it adopts new standards for school meals and nutrition. They go on to say, quote, "We want to take a product that most kids like and that has 9 essential nutrients in it and say, you can't drink this, you have to drink plain," said Katie Wilson, executive director of the Urban School Food Alliance, which represents 18 of the largest school districts in the country. What are we trying to prove? End quote. So she's clearly against this, as am I, because then it's like, well, where do you draw the line? Are you going to remove soda machines from school? Because you can't spin to me, chocolate milk has too much sugar in it, but outside of the music room, before you leave to exit the property to go out to the bus, there's a Pepsi machine where you can get a Mountain Dew.
I bet that they don't have soda machines out there anymore.
Do you think they've taken soda machines out of schools?
Yeah, some of them they have taken out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
I remember that being. It was right outside of our gym in my school. There was a soda machine out there. But yeah, I can almost guarantee you that there's very few soda machines in schools anymore.
But where do we draw the line? I mean, pizza's bad for you. So is taco meat, right? Like, I mean, we can sit here and pick and choose all these things of red meat's not good for you and too much carbs and gluten intolerance and this and that. Chocolate milk, really?
So I think this is a smart move to take the chocolate milk out of school cafeterias, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. And yes, I get it. White milk is better for you. But is that racist to say? I don't know.
Because first of all, they should not have the fat-free. That's a whole myth. Kids just do, milk. Yeah. Just whole milk.
So you're saying whole.
With all the fat. Okay. You don't need the fat-free thing for kids. They don't need that. But the carbs, and on average, 1 cup, 26 carbs, 24 grams of sugar, and for chocolate milk, the majority of that is added sugar. Mm-hmm. When you look at a label, what you want to look at are not the natural sugars. Look at the added sugars. They cause all kinds of problems, including if they have too much added sugar, learning and attention deficit type issues, whether they're actually ADD.
Yeah.
So to me, you don't need the chocolate milk. You don't need all that. And by the way, it's not even real sugar.
Right.
It's high fructose corn syrup, which don't even get me started on that.
But isn't this where like good parenting comes into play?
No, because they're serving it in the school cafeteria.
Right, but like, I mean, as far as like, I have a rule when I actually live with my kids. Like, I'm sorry, when you get off the bus, you're not rushing to the snack cabinet to grab a bag of Sour Patch Kids. You're not going in there and eating 2/3 of a bag of sour cream and onion potato chips.
Right. So if you're a parent and you want your kid to have chocolate in their milk, then send in a little Tupperware, little tiny container of Hershey's chocolate syrup, and they can stir in their own syrup into their milk.
More Ovaltine, please.
Am I a bad parent for the only way my son will take medicine is if we mix it in chocolate milk?
No, he's a little kid, and you got to do what you got to do.
My daughter Mia's like that.
Yeah,
if she can't swallow pills, I got to stick it in a cheese stick.
Yeah,
I give her the little polio string cheese stick. Yeah. She gags from pills.
We have an obesity epidemic, and it's not just for grown-ups. Mm-hmm. It's concerning for little kids, and that's going to impact them for the rest of their lives and their heart and their organs and their fertility and their mental state and everything. And so for school cafeterias to say, we're just going to have white milk, and by the way, just drink water is good for you. Just good whole water.
Yeah, I'm an advocate for water.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with everything you're saying, Don Stensland. You know I do. If you look at, chocolate milk in schools has been a staple forever from when our parents went to school. If you look at pictures from the 70s, early 80s, the 60s, all those kids, I'm sure, drank milk in school, chocolate milk in school, and they all were rail thin. So what's changed?
Activity.
Exactly.
But also
too much screen time, not enough real activity.
They're not our kids are fatsos because they're not moving. They sit inside on devices.
Mm-hmm.
They're not involved in sports. They're not involved in extracurricular activities. That's why that's the obesity.
I would even condone if it meant kids getting off of their phones and scrolling and swiping and screen time. Just go outside, run down the street, and spray paint a wall. just get into a little bit of trouble. Just get off the stinking phone.
But I will point out to you that the chocolate milk of, and I don't know when it all changed, the 70s or probably the 70s or 80s. But look at when they figured out, and this was like a 60 Minutes investigative report at one point, when the person who came up with high fructose corn syrup, not just corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, and all of these, manufactured, highly processed, different sweeteners and different additives. And that, if you look at that, it does coincide with the obesity epidemic beginning. And also with all of these heart problems and everything else. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, you're making great points. I don't dispute any of that. Let me just but let's think about, especially here in Philadelphia, how many kids that live in the inner city, maybe they don't have milk available to them at home, and their only opportunity to get an 8-ounce little carton container, or however they do milk these days, in schools, is through school, whether it's like the school breakfast program or the lunch program. I mean, don't you kind of have to take, in theory, the good with the bad? Hey, it might be your only chance today if you live, if you're living in poverty or whatever in the inner city to get your milk. But yeah, the negative is, there's the added sugars and all the other stuff.
Here's where I'm going to disagree with you. I think have the milk that's the white milk that doesn't have all the added sugary stuff.
Okay.
But I would say serve for, and there are many books. What was it, the South Beach Diet book, who was originally a heart surgeon who actually wrote that book. So what in that book, and I apologize, I forget the doctor's name. What he said was, if you're going to do a so-called cheat day, if you're dieting, then have some delicious ice cream that's made with whole milk and real cream, and you can read those ingredients and real sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say for the school lunches, let the kids have, if they want to choose ice cream, but not with the high fructose corn syrup. Real ice cream.
Or if you're going to have a cheat day.
I know Greg is laughing because I know people are getting all triggered because I'm saying this.
If you're going to have a cheat day, do what I do and eat a whole pizza in 5 hours.
MAGA Man on Twitter says we were outside all day and walked to school, not fat bodies. I love fat bodies. It's from Full Metal Jacket, right? I love that. Meredith on YouTube. By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, too, if you're watching right now. It's not up to the federal government to make these decisions. I'd rather see kids drink chocolate milk than no milk. School lunches are the only meal some kids get in a day.
Guess what? They're going to drink it. They're going to drink it. And you know why why it's up to them? Because we, the taxpayers, don't even get me started, but the free lunch, it's free. The government does pay for it. And so guess what? If the government pays for your lunch, then the government gets to say what your menu is. So parents, send your kid to school with their lunch. I never got the school lunch because I would have had to pay. I had to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, in some places, if you qualify, then all the kids are getting the free stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, guess what? That's why we don't want government control.
Yeah.
When the government pays for it, the government gets to tell you what to do.
Yeah, I used to pay for my lunch on Tuesdays and Fridays because it was taco and pizza. But the other 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, I always packed because the chicken nuggets were terrible. By the way, it was a total violation. Speaking of the menu for the schools, you can't go chicken nuggets one day and then chicken patty sandwich the next day. It's the same thing. It's I need variety here.
Nick's still bitter about his.
Oh, I used to hate that
high school lunch menu.
Like the hoagie day wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But nothing beat the taco and the pizza.
By the way, high fructose corn syrup, just look it up for me. It grew. It started out in the mid 70s and then through the 70s to the mid 90s, became that replacement for real sugar. And so coincide, just look at the graphs of when America became obese. And I will tell you, there are people who will go to like a whole food kind of a diet program and high protein, and they will lose so much weight and not even change their exercise routine. There are people who swear all the that they put, all the additives like this that they put into foods, it really is against you at any age. I'm just saying.
Well, that's a good point. Oh,
I know.
Just move around a little bit. The milk is fine. Just don't sit inside all day.
Yeah. Go outside and jog a mile around the football field. Dude, take 4 laps around the field.
They're doing the right thing to get rid of this high fructose corn syrup milk.
I need diversity in my milk selection.
By the way, Merritt on YouTube says, you guys need green screens. Dawn and Greg, you look like you're in closets. We're not in closets.
No.
We're in our own studios.
Yeah, Dawn's got her little cozy booth.
The three of us can't stand each other, so we have to be in separate booths.
Right,
so.
we're all afraid of COVID.
Well, actually, it started in COVID. Now it's just more comfortable and more. It's easier.
But I think we've got it figured out now because
I think we do.
We can see Dawn. She's not facing a music station anymore, so it all lines up succinctly to like look at this.
I mean, it's not how I would have. It's not how I would have designed a studio.
No.
But I was not involved in that.
No.
That was like 3 program directors.
Yeah. I mean, you never would have designed a talk station to be set up like a music station.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No.
But those things still happen apparently. People. 855-839-1210.
We missed the big 3, and it's sponsored.
Oh, that's right. Well, we just did one like 30 minutes ago.
I know.
Yeah,
but
all
it's
right.
Not even.
So let's. So do you want to do that or the clip first?
No, let's do the big 3 and then the movie clip.
All right, let's do a Dawn Stenslin Big 3 at 9 at 9:19.
It's the Big 3 and 9 on Kayal Company.
Big 3 at 9. I will tell you, on a national level, the Biden administration is accused of hiding very important, critical information on that deadly Afghanistan withdrawal, the deadly, disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. And Republicans have now called key witnesses to testify on the deadly disaster, which killed, of course, 13 U.S. service members and abandoned many citizens who are still over there. By the way, we've talked a lot about that.
Disgraceful withdrawal.
It is disgraceful.
On so many levels, too.
But nobody's talking about that either.
Oh, shocking.
Big 3. Number 2. I'll go to the economy. We haven't talked a lot today about the debt ceiling, the debt limit situation, but Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen issuing yet another warning about America running out of money to pay for our financial obligations, TikTok, within a couple weeks by June 1st. So not too much longer. So that, as we're looking at the latest data, consumer data, which states that, in fact, Americans usually pay off more of the credit cards at some point after the holiday, the winter holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, right, in January at some point. Nope, didn't happen. And now we have these highest interest rates in a generation. So that is not good news for retailers and going out to eat and getting the economy working.
Yeah.
So we've got that going on. So
funny you mentioned that. I was looking, and look, my wife would kill me if I made this purchase, but I was looking at a new set of golf irons, and I didn't really want to pay for them. I didn't have the money. It's like they're so expensive. These $1,500. So the retailer, I won't name them, that I was at, said, well, we do offer a charge card, and you can do blah blah blah. I looked at the back of it. The interest rate on this card was 31%.
That's it.
Oh my God,
31%.
That's it.
I'm like, get this out of my face.
Yeah.
No.
Now
I'll donate blood to pay for these before I take your card.
But what if they have like no interest for 6 months?
Well, yes,
you could start paying it off.
Yeah,
the wife wouldn't know.
Right, but that was not presented to me, so
you could look for that.
I'm going to pass on it. I'll punt.
But see, to your point, I mean, think about the economy and all those purchases, small and large.
Yep.
People are not making them.
Nope.
And number three. I will say, I can't say Martha Stewart because we talked about her. Let's talk about actor and comic Bill Burr coming to Hershey's Giant Center. That's in June. We also have Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks, a lot of summer performances happening in Pennsylvania. And I'm just going to say it, Martha Stewart is getting more attention kind of winning people over. Sports Illustrated, a real win as opposed to the beer commercials that we talked about. Good for Sports Illustrated. Good for SI.
Yep. Just think about
Great
that
move.
now. You got Sports Illustrated, you've got Miller Lite, you've got Bud Light, and who's the winner of all of them right now? That once dying publication. Much like CNN, for one moment, they get it right.
It's so true, but good. Kudos to them. They put a real woman, biological woman, 81 years young, and it's all good. It's positivity, no agenda, and I think that they win. Whoever their marketing person is, that person has been a real winner. And another real winner, Rhino Shield. We've talked a lot this morning about our Travis Manion, that great event that we all just were so proud to be part of. And we remember that John Gilgee of Rhino Shield, he was there. And he's just somebody who's such a good guy in the community. Never paint your home again with Rhino Shield. It's ceramic coating. It's guaranteed for life. So just call John, schedule an appointment today, save 10%. You want to visit myrhinoshield.com, or you can call John, 844-RHINO-99. So it's 844-RHINO-99. Or like I say, just give John a call. But Rhino Shield, thank you for being our Big 3 sponsor at 9.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210. Still ahead. We got to get to the GOP and the fight for AM radios in your vehicles. But right now, let's try to give something away with a morning mystery movie clip.
And now, the Morning Mystery Movie Clip on Kayal Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Whoa, nice headers. You've got a high-rise double-pump carburetor. That's pretty impressive, Sam.
Double pump?
It squirts the fuel in so you can go faster.
Oh. I like to go faster.
It looks like your distributor cap's a little loose.
Yeah? How'd you know that?
My dad, he was a real grease monkey. He taught me all about this. I could take it all apart, clean it, put it back together.
That's weird. I just wouldn't peg you for mechanical.
Well, I don't really broadcast it. Guys don't like it when you know more about cars than they do.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
Oh, yeah, the prize today is a $50 gift card to the Horse Tavern in Sellersville. If you can identify that movie clip, caller 12, 855-839-1210, $50 gift card to the Horse Tavern in Sellersville, Pennsylvania. See if we get a winner when we come back, and we'll see if AM radio is on the verge of extinction, at least in vehicles. Back after this.
At American Heritage Credit Union, our rates allow you to choose what works best for your lifestyle. Enjoy the flexibility of a high-yield savings account, earning 3.55% annual percentage yield on balances of $10,000 or more. Or lock in a term that works for you when you choose a certificate for 6 to 11 months, earning 4% annual percentage yield. Learn more at AmericanHeritageCU.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Not a member? Join today.
Two legends, one can. Jack and Coke, the #1 cocktail in the world, is now available in a can. Yes, it's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar are available in a can. And they are now available at your local PA Fine Wine and Good Spirits store. Two legends, one can. Jack and Coke, ready to drink. Go to finewineandgoodspirits.com. Please drink responsibly.
Whiskey Specialty, 7% ABV. Jack Daniel Distillery, Lynchburg, Tennessee. Jack Daniel's and Old No. 7 are registered trademarks of Jack Daniel's Properties, Inc. Coca-Cola is a trademark of the Coca-Cola Company.
Lexus of Cherry Hill, a 5-time J.D. Power dealer of excellence for customer service. The 2023 Lexus models are here and moving fast, and the 2023 Lexus RZ 450e all electric has arrived. Tony LaBelle and his team are your source for the Lexus of your dreams. Over 200 new and pre-owned vehicles in stock. You deserve this Lexus, and you deserve award-winning customer service. Start your journey with family-owned and operated Lexus of Cherry Hill.
For J.D. Power dealer of excellence information, visit jdpower.com/US-DOE.
Don't miss Detroit's only trip to Philly this season when the Phillies host the Tigers on Monday, June 5th and Tuesday, June 6th, both at 6:40, and Wednesday, June 7th at 6:05. Tickets are available now at phillies.com. The Phillies Charities Fantastic Auction is back. Bid now on once-in-a-lifetime experiences and memorabilia with all proceeds going to charity. Visit Phillies.com/fantastic auction to place your bids by May 19th.
Cozy Jewelers isn't an ordinary jeweler. They create beautiful, one-of-a-kind heirlooms designed to stay in your family for generations. So for something extra special for Mother's Day, anniversary, or just because, choose Cozy. With over a century of combined experience, Cozy Jewelers artisans know every piece and moment should be magical. Before you buy off the shelf, experience handcrafted custom jewelry from local specialists with the 5 C's of diamonds: cut, color, clarity, carat, and cozy. COZZIJewelers.com.
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. There are over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at SteelUSA.com. Lowe's and Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Hi guys, it's Mark. Are you struggling with ED? Did you know that a major medical breakthrough is now available and it isn't a pill? Today, Tuesday, we're running a one-day special you won't want to miss out on. Oak Hills Medical Clinic uses the most powerful form of wave therapy. This is a technology clinically shown to repair blood vessels and improve blood flow. It's backed by 60 clinical studies, including from Cambridge. If you're ready to regain that spark in the bedroom, today is your day. Call us now and you'll qualify for the assessment and ultrasound totally free. You'll also get a gift that can produce rapid and powerful results in the bedroom in minutes. You're going to love that one, guys. Trust me. And today only, we're offering 5 tune-up treatments to our patients free. This is an unprecedented offer worth hundreds of dollars, but call today and qualify totally free. Call 215-302-9999. That's 215-302-9999. Guys, put a stop to your ED and get your life back. Call Oak Hills Medical Clinic now to qualify. This offer ends today. 215-302-9999.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The summer starts here, so it's time to enjoy the savings going on at Toyota. Choose from your favorite models, including RAV4, Camry, Highlander, and Tacoma. Shop online at Toyota.com or visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
Drive in with Kayal Company mornings 6 till 10. Drive home with Rich Zioli afternoons 3 till 7. Live and local on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
.30 Tuesday morning. Kayal Company as we continue. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Just about 10 minutes out from what's on the cut sheet part due. And then we'll find out what's on tap for the Dawn Show in about 20 minutes and who won Twitter today. But right now, let's see if we have our winner for our morning mystery movie clip. We've got Michael from Levittown on the line. Michael, good morning. What clip did we just play for you?
The movie is Transformers with the haunted Megan Fox.
That is absolutely correct, sir. And Michael, congratulations. $50 gift card. Horse Tavern, Sellersville, PA. It's all yours. How's that sound, pal?
That sounds awesome. Thank you, sir.
You got it. Michael, we appreciate you listening and certainly for playing. Enjoy the Horse Tavern, courtesy of Kayal Company. $50 gift card. Hooking people up, all different kinds of little pubs and breweries and restaurants this week.
Yeah, we're
Kinda
trying
like that.
Yeah, we're trying to find some, find some people that want a little advertising and say, hey, give us some gift cards to the lovely Kayal Company listeners.
There you go. All right. So, as far as the lovely Kayal Company listeners, you might not be able to listen to us in a handful of years on AM radio because, yeah, believe it or not. We've talked about this story before, and really I believe the silencing of free speech. And as we know, conservative talk radio is a big thing in this country, and it thrives on the AM dial. And now we know, it's a legit issue when the Washington Post is actually willing to talk about it and not ignore it, because Ford, BMW, Volkswagen, Tesla, and other automakers eliminating AM radio from some new vehicles which is obviously creating a big stir. This is from the Washington Post. Automakers such as Ford, BMW, Volkswagen, Mazda, and Tesla are removing AM radios from new electric vehicles because the electric engines can interfere with the sound of AM stations. We gave you that little tidbit in the past. I think that's complete nonsense and BS. Ford, one of the nation's top 3 auto sellers, taking a bigger step. They will be eliminating AM from all vehicles, whether it's electric or gas operated. And this is big for this industry and this station, certainly because you think about this whole platform across the country, some station owners and advertisers will contend, and rightfully so, that losing access to the car dashboard will indeed be a death blow to many of the nation's 4,185 AM stations coast to coast, and the possible demise of a core element or elements of the nation's delivery system for news, political talk, coverage of weather emergencies, and other sorts of foreign language programming. Michael Harrison, the publisher of Talkers, a trade journal covering the talk radio industry, says, quote, "This is a tone-deaf display of complete ignorance about what AM radio means to Americans." And to bring that back to this show and this audience and this station, you might sit there and tweet us or message us in the comments section and say, "Oh my God, why do you keep telling us about the Odyssey app? And why do you keep telling us to subscribe on YouTube? Yada, yada, yada." This is one of the reasons, because there's no guarantee that Talk Radio 1210 ever goes to FM, and the future could very well be in your phone, on an app, or on a video streaming platform. So I think when Greg Soccer says, we want to get our subscriber count up and follow this and, sign up to this, not for no reason. There's a reason behind it.
It's funny. When they can't win, when they can't beat us, change the game. Right?
Cancel it.
So they tried to go after the sponsors. They tried to go after the hosts, getting the hosts fired. They tried every which way. Ever since the Fairness Doctrine was eliminated in 1988, they tried every way they possibly could to get rid of AM radio, get rid of free speech.
And 35 years later, still trying.
And they couldn't do it. 35 years later, they're still trying. They have that Media Matters scumbag organization that does their bidding for them, and they're succeeding in this by saying, well, electric vehicles, we can't put them in there because of interference, and it doesn't. The cars don't work properly when they. But we pointed out a few weeks ago that there was no problem with these AM radios and in EVs in the 2022 models.
No,
apparently it's just the 2023 models that there's issues. And the good news is that this is a long way down the road. There was an article yesterday or the day before, basically because of the price of cars now and the price of, even used cars, people are holding on to their cars a lot longer.
Yeah, I don't blame them.
So, but I have a friend who literally just bought a new vehicle. I'm not going to say where, but it doesn't have AM radio in it. And when you try and bring the Odyssey app up on Apple CarPlay, our app doesn't come up. And that is an Odyssey issue. Okay. That is an Odyssey issue that we're not prepared for stuff like this to happen.
Okay.
And it needs to be. So,
but I'm willing to bet those.
You have to use your phone.
You have to use your phone, plug it into your phone, which is, it's just an extra step. It's right there on the dashboard.
Yeah.
You want to hit it and play Odyssey.
But I'm willing to bet that those new cars that you talked about that don't have AM come with satellite. So the satellite doesn't interfere with the electric vehicle. Just the AM band.
I actually don't know. I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
Ken John on YouTube says it's total BS about AM interference. Although we have that guy, the guy who emails me a lot. I think he goes by the name Ultimate Machine or something.
Yeah, he's a BMW tech guy.
He's a BMW tech guy, and he says that it is absolutely true. All I'm saying is that it seems to have come out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden it's like, well, sorry, no more AM radio for this, and it's
okay. Well, even if true, and even if they want to silence this type of talk radio, well, what about the national emergencies, the weather alerts, those types of things?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I'm always talking about.
Yes.
Because that's the broader issue.
Yeah.
That it's, in truth, let's say you're in your car and we've all had this happen. Your phone dies or something's wrong with your phone or you forgot your phone, whatever that is. The AM radio, especially if you're in that vehicle and there is an emergency going on, you essentially rely on the AM stations to bring you that. And that happened to me. I was driving. It was when the tornadoes were striking the area. And I couldn't get anybody. And I got KYW actually picked up the National Weather Service. So it wasn't even their person. It was a meteor. And they went to it as on the AM dial was the only thing I could get.
Wow.
Because it was all kooky wobble. And because a lot of the, a lot of the FM stations are not necessarily local, so they're not going to go to, here's the urgent information you need right now. If you're in this area, and the tornadoes were striking right where I was, and there were rooftops like flying, you know what I mean, on the roadway. It was crazy. And so they were saying, go here, don't go down this road, and it's life-saving, imminent, information that you need right in that second.
To be honest with you, I probably say more on this show than I probably should, being in my job, but I'm at a point in my career where I really don't care. So holy crap! Look, there are companies, I'm not saying it's this one, but there are companies that are afraid to put this type of radio on FM. That's the God's honest truth. They are afraid because it's not like we're not profitable. Because we are.
Right. Because if we weren't, we wouldn't be here.
And it's not like we don't have ratings, because we do.
Yeah.
And if you put us on an even playing field with everybody else, the Odyssey app, YouTube, stuff that everybody can get.
Yeah.
We compete with the best of the best.
We're already beating some people on the other FM dial in a different genre that we shouldn't be beating in theory.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So we already have one hand tied, actually two hands tied behind our back, being on the AM dial. You put us up against anybody else on an even playing field, FM, Odyssey app, YouTube, we can compete with anybody. But there are companies that are scared to put content like this on FM.
I know, because what the three of us say on here is so polarizing.
Music is safe, sports radio is safe. That type of stuff is safe content.
Yeah.
This is not safe content. So they don't want to they don't want the headlines of Kayal says something stupid. Zioli says something dumb.
Yeah.
They don't want the headache of that. So keep us over here on AM. We'll be a boutique. I'm putting that in quotations, and we won't rustle any feathers.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating.
We're like a nice little high-end shop.
It's infuriating to deal with this on a day-to-day basis. And I'm dealing with it more and more being on this end of the spectrum.
Yeah. I'll be heading into the sales meeting in about 19 minutes. I'll pass along your thoughts.
Look, I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm just being honest with you guys.
Yeah, of course.
This is
I think our audience realizes that.
It is a constant battle.
Yeah.
It is a constant battle. And
our listeners know this too. I mean, how many times have we had people call in, hey, I can't hang on the line long. I'm at work right now, but I'm listening on my headphones, so nobody
Yeah. Kristen writes on YouTube, I was really hoping that when KYW went FM, that 1210 would too. You know what, Kristen? So did I. Not a joke. But not my decision.
Yep. All right.
I notice you're both being quiet. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine putting myself out there.
No, I put myself out there plenty. Yeah. Like I said, we've defeated some sports stations in certain demos that in theory we've got no business even hanging in against, especially when said football team's on a world championship run. Yeah. But
you put us on an even playing field and we can compete. That's my only message going forward.
Yeah. Well, you got some of those industry insiders that hang out on Twitter all day, and they like to say, well, in the 6+ demo, like, yeah, Stooge, we don't sell 6+, you moron. Irrelevant. But anyway,
I could actually make the argument that my target goal is adults, is just anybody who can consume, because let's be honest with you, 12-year-olds are not consuming this radio station.
Right.
18-year-olds are not consuming this radio station.
Right.
It's more for people who have a little skin in the game, who know what's going on in the world.
But you know what?
And they tend to be older.
I'm just saying. We need to start having 18-year-olds consume.
I agree,
this.
but they're not. We can't make them.
I mean, we've got 14-year-olds putting out influencer videos for Joe Biden saying, I'm riding with Biden. Meanwhile, we got 18-year-olds that don't even know this exists.
Yeah.
So that's neither here nor there. By the way, too, I did say that GOP reps fighting the good fight. Representatives Bob Latta from Ohio, Greg Pence from Indiana sent a letter with 100 signatures to Ford, Volkswagen, BMW, Mazda, Volvo, Tesla, GM, and Mercedes-Benz on Monday. The letter, obtained by Fox News Digital, outlined issues with the push to pull AM radio from new car models. So it's not just us talking about it. There are Republicans in Congress that are certainly aware of what's going on. And, we'll see what comes of it.
What did you say those congressmen names were?
Bob Latta from Ohio and Greg Pence from Indiana.
Okay.
L-A-T-T-A. Latta.
Dawn, don't you have an in with Scott Perry or somebody from here in PA? Can't we get some local legislation on this? Can we get a local person that will take up this cause? I'm serious because we're not getting help from anywhere else. So, we might as well try and lobby the reps and Congress people that we know.
Okay.
Long Driveway 99 says, I started listening to you guys 2 years ago. You guys are awesome. Music gets boring. There's new topics every day on your show, and you guys do a great job. Better than FM. How about that?
KS on YouTube says, I have a hard time with the Odyssey app glitching. I tend to listen to y'all online through Radio Net. Love you guys. KS, I hear you.
Okay.
I understand. I fight these fights every day. I understand.
That's right. Greg's not just yelling from 6 to 10.
We want to put a quality product on all day long.
Right.
That is my job, and it is people above me to make sure that everything else works properly.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
That's correct. And we don't break our microphone stands. 9:44, Greg Stocker. Let's get to what's on the cut sheet part 2.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. This was just released this morning by the O'Keefe Media Group. This is Sean Langill. He's a Fox News at Night producer.
Okay.
He says that the Tucker Carlson termination was part of the Dominion settlement, meaning that we will settle with you if you get rid of Tucker Carlson. They deny it, but this guy says it's true.
Okay.
So here's the hidden camera video on that.
And much more.
$144 million to settle that Dominion lawsuit.
Oh, that was with the Dominion company. Yeah. How did what happened with that?
They gave him money, that wasn't part of it. They say it wasn't part of it, but we're learning that Tucker getting fired was part of that.
Tucker getting fired was part of the Dominion lawsuit?
It was part of the settlement.
Well, so did Tucker leave, or did you guys part ways, or Tucker was ousted?
Yeah, he was ousted. Well, he brought up things that cost him a lot of money.
Cost the company a lot of money?
Yeah, and that was part of it. He was going to go after this whole thing about January 6th it was an inside job. He went after this guy, Reyes, he said was an FBI agent on the inside.
Okay, so start at the most basic of elements. The two things that matter if you are a host: ratings and revenue. Tucker Carlson is the most highly rated show on all of cable news. That being said, despite all of the years of rating success, he did not have as many advertisers as lower rated shows because Tucker goes where other people are afraid to go. So those are two things that we have known, and we've known for a long time. So ask yourself, after you realize those two, what changed? What changed could very well have been $787 million Dominion. What changed? Rupert Murdoch, kids, family taking over the business, different idea, different direction. Dawn's highlighted it really well, pointing out a lot of these other behind-the-scenes factors. Did Dominion have something to do with it? Perhaps. I mean, like I said, if I'm Tucker Carlson, and I don't know what kind of politics he has to deal with inside the walls of Fox News, but something didn't really add up because you just don't leave to go to do a show on Twitter and walk away from $20 million. Seems like he was forced out, but
this is the first time I'm hearing them actually spell out that it was part of the lawsuit, meaning that they would settle if Fox News got rid of Tucker Carlson. That's the first time I heard that.
Does that have to be in writing, and is that public domain?
I don't know.
Those are the questions. If that's true, I would like to know. I mean, or is this just kind of a, handshake agreement, wink, wink, behind closed doors, as in, hey, we'll settle if.
Well, I will say this, that there was something, because they were all set to go to trial, if you guys remember. It was the day of, right, Dawn? Like that day that it happened. And all of a sudden, they took a recess, or it didn't start right on time. It sounded like there was some sort of backdoor deal that was happening behind the scenes. Could that have been it? Mm-hmm. Could that have been, hey,
could very well be.
We will settle on this lawsuit, with this lawsuit on this amount of money if you get rid of him.
That's right. Could very well be.
And I think that's a pretty big story.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. And what I'm going to be very interested in hearing is when Tucker Carlson launches that show on Twitter, which, by the way, I don't know when it will be. I don't think it's been released publicly. If I'm him, I don't do it until after Labor Day. I enjoy the next 3 months of my life and then get back to the grind by like September 8th. But I would love to hear what Tucker knows behind closed doors, and also if he's even allowed to talk about that.
Yep.
Because there could be some sort of restriction on him, blabbing about that. Yep. I don't know. It's just I'm just shooting from the hip here.
We played a lot of clips this morning during the cut sheet of the CBS Evening News, the ABC Evening News, the NBC Evening News.
Yeah, they're all the same.
All talking about the Durham investigation. CBS this morning, to their credit, admitting the truth about the Durham investigation. This is how they reported it this morning, just a couple hours ago.
After nearly 4 years of investigation, Special Counsel John Durham found the FBI lacked actual evidence to investigate then-candidate Donald Trump's campaign in 2016. Durham said the Bureau was too reliant on investigative leads provided or funded by Trump's political opponents. The report did not reveal major new findings, but it repeated prior criticism from Trump.
There was no collusion at all.
The FBI expanded its original probe, known as Crossfire Hurricane, based partly on information from Christopher Steele. Steele, a former British spy, put together a research dossier alleging possible misconduct between then-candidate Trump and Russia. Durham found investigators did not and could not corroborate any of the substantive allegations contained in the Steele reporting.
Zero corroboration after 4 years, and I believe the figure was $6.5 million of taxpayer money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about that. Now imagine grabbing $6.5 million, putting it in a big sack, and then tossing it into one of those wishing wells in the mall back in like 1995. That's basically what they did with your tax money. Nice work.
I think that's all we have time for.
All right. That'll do it for What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2 as we find out what is on tap for the Dawn Show, which is coming up in exactly 10 minutes' time.
So I'll give you my take on the whole Durham report. And looking at that, it was released, the final report, finally, after all these years. And I feel dirty. So I'll tell you why. We should all feel a little dirty. That is coming up, and I'll give my take on that. And as well, looking, of course, at the local elections, meaning Pennsylvania primary day. Then we will have, at some point, I think 10:10, Ben Maness coming up. He's doing a deep dive into the underlying problems with regard to that latest prison escape, where we still have an accused killer, armed and dangerous, loose on the streets of Philadelphia somewhere. So Ben Maness comes and visits about 10:10, and then I think we have a mystery guest coming up at 11. So
mystery guest? Woo,
yeah.
What?
I love the mystery guest.
I like it.
Can we play some odds and some props and some bets?
Will you be blindfolded?
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, well, based on that delivery there by Dawn of the Oh Yeah Baby, I've got Larry as the favorite at minus 210. Oh, boy. Dawn says she feels dirty.
Yeah.
I do, too. I'm going to take a shower when I get home, I think.
Yeah.
But then again, I sweat during the show, so I take a shower every day after the show. Yeah.
That's why we're all in separate studios.
That's exactly right. All right, let's find out, Greg Stalker, at 9:52 on a Tuesday. Who won Twitter today?
Who won Twitter?
Dave Halliday wins Twitter. He says, garbage. Filters can be installed to mitigate interference from the electric motors. Sounds like he knows.
Okay.
So I'm interested to learn more about that, because if that's the case and there is more nefarious things at play here, like I believe, I would like to get to the bottom of it.
And that was Dave Halliday?
Dave Halliday.
I think that's a first-time winner.
Dave Halliday on Twitter. So thank you for playing along.
Much like the Miller Lite Woke ad from March, I have no recollection of a Dave Halliday.
Yeah.
First-time winner. See, we're not just giving it away to the same people every day.
No, we never do that.
Although we had that stretch where we had somebody go, what? Was it back-to-back or was it a three-peat?
It might have been a three-peat.
Yeah. That's nice work. All right. So stay tuned for the Dawn Show. Dawn is coming up in just about 7 minutes. Mystery guest coming up in the second hour. I personally think it's Larry Bear, but I could be proven wrong. And I could lose $210 on my $100 wager, courtesy of FanDuel. No, I'm just kidding. All right, stay tuned. The Dawn Show is coming up next. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we will talk to you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on Kayal Company.
I'm done with you!